Welcome everyone to another session of Crituitous RP. It's good to have everyone back this week. We rejoin the party as they are deep within the Nine Hells. Just outside the city of Dis, they had ventured in with the purpose of satisfying a contract. Gamel had signed a deal with Dispater that would hold his soul ransom upon until the completion of a task. That task being the assassination of Archeron, the demon, the pit fiend that runs the deep pits just outside of Dis. After visiting the location and experiencing the strange atmosphere and witnessing the slave trade, our heroes found themselves unwilling to just sit by and watch slave trade go on. So they took that moment to jump into battle, slaying the pit fiend and his companions, whilst saving the lives of almost all of the prisoners. One half-orc did fall bravely in battle as he had been spurred on to help with the fight and then very quickly died. We rejoin right in the thick of it as our heroes, let me move us back to our map, as our heroes are recuperating briefly, calming down as the battle has finished and the bodies of the demons fizzle and phase away to go somewhere and be reformed as demons do. What would you guys like to do?
Aaron just principally is going to be slightly annoyed. Look on his face. He's going to look at his sword. Disgruntledly, he's going to walk across the room, moaning to himself, cursing the harpals under his breath. Just bloody work, tapping it in a fashion going, should have done something. And then he's going to stab the pit fiend a few more times.
As you're stabbing, the nature of demonic forms and forces within this particular land, the bodies will slowly disappear. You'll start just stabbing into the ground, the hard floor.
Turn off the sword. Note to self. Right. He's a bit disgruntled. He's then going to walk over and then pick his other sword up from the dead orc. Oops. A bit tougher than that. Then turn to Loic. Are we done? Are you ready to go?
Gamel, can you check the status of your contract? How do you feel?
I'll look at my contract to see if anything's actually changed. I feel better, right? Like
you do. You feel
that empty, cold, like my soul was ripped in half sort of feeling has kind of gone away.
Yep. You feel a little bit more whole and complete. You pull out the parchment that was the contract, and before your very eyes, the ink is beginning to fade. The paper turns pale and kind of yellow, moldy, before slowly turning to dust and falling apart within your fingers.
I kind of banked on this keeping me protected from a devil forever, but okay. That raises some interesting questions, but I'm pretty certain my soul is back.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
All right. Then, next stop, material plane.
One thing.
Real quick, I'm just going to have Janrik's going to go up to Aaron and kind of seeing that he's very irritated that this half-orc had to die. He's just going to kind of come up to him, pat him on the back, like, it's okay, man. He died fighting for his freedom, and if there's any way to go, that's it. And I'm going to give him a heal, since he looks like he's pretty rough right now.
Aaron's a little confused, and then realizing that his irritation was not because the orc died, but then we'll kind of, it's because his weapon's not working. He's going to like go with it and go, yeah. He fought bravely. And then he's gonna like one thing. I forgot to mention it earlier. I didn't get time. Did you see it? There was a picture of Bruno at the entrance with that pile of things with the when we gave the magic items in. There was a magic picture of Bruno. It was moving. He looked sulky.
I didn't see it. It was moving, you said?
Yeah, a little bit. But he looked like he was in a bad mood.
Do I know that moving photography or paintings are a common enchantment to have for decorum?
Roll an Arcana check or a History check, either one for you. This is common. It's usually something that people create for members of their family. Like it's usually something that they keep within themselves, but it's not uncommon to find pictures that depict other notable beings moving about.
Did we see any other similar sorts of pictures throughout the entirety of the place?
Not here, no.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
But it was piled amongst a bunch of stuff that had been given over as entry fees. And because of what you had been told by Esger, the only people that have to pay entry fees are the humanoid patrons that are visiting the pits and not native to the plane of Dis.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the painting is just a painting. It may have been something that was given as admission fee from someone, because something like that is, I don't know, uncommon-ish, but not so rare that we need to be suspicious of it.
Well, but it's
the link. We didn't see Bruno last time we visited. He's been injured for over a month and he's still sick. It doesn't seem right. He has clerics and healers on hand. He should be well by now, and I find it a little bit suspicious that we find ourselves with a picture of Bruno inside the Nine Hells.
Well, there are no laws here, right?
No, there are tons of laws here.
No, but like where we're standing now.
Oh.
No, in the room that you were in, you're in a fairly private area off to one side. But you know that any moment now, people could be coming down that spiral staircase heading towards you. Plus, you had just killed the pit fiend that runs the place.
Speaking of which, Aaron will start using his primeval awareness when he can to try and sense approaching danger while these guys are chatting.
In total, your primeval awareness indicates to you that there are close to about 100 fiends within the close proximity of the deep pits. Their general locations is spread, but you'd have to be repeat usages of primeval awareness to track their motions. Upon doing so, you would see that some are starting to get closer and closer to your position.
Okay, well, I'll be like, we haven't got a lot of time as people come. Cool.
Well, there's nothing for them to see here. The bodies have taken care of themselves. And you know what they say, no body, no crime. I think they say this, I don't know.
Loic, could you make an illusion to show that pit fiend? If we're not leaving, are we leaving? Are we leaving?
Do you want to get that portrait, or are we going to head out? And importantly, what are we going to do with these, pointing to the slaves? What are we going to do with these things?
Take them
people?
With us, obviously.
I don't need any slaves.
Nobody needs slaves. That's the point.
That's a good point, yes.
Aaron's going to pick up the orc.
His body's quite light considering what he looks like. Obviously, he's very malnourished and exhausted.
He doesn't deserve to die here. So
If nobody stops me, I'm going to take out the cubic gate and initiate the gate to the material plane and tell everybody to get through it.
Okay.
How long does that take, Loic?
I think the gate spell is just one action.
Yeah, the gate is instant. The moment Loic presses the button, immediately the air shimmers and shifts and tears open, revealing a portal of magical energy around the center of the room.
I'm worried that some of these slaves are here because they're bad people who made bad deals and are just getting their just desserts, and letting them out could be a problem.
It's not. We have to free people that are in bounds. No matter what they did, nobody should be put through this, and it's not up to us to judge them.
Camel, we can judge and vet them all you like when we get through the portal.
Yeah, but if we get through the portal and they're bad people, I don't want to have to deal with them.
But one's a child.
Sorry. They all tear off, running straight towards the portal. Are you going to stop them?
No, Danric, Aaron, this one's on you. You are responsible for those people. Don't let them get out without vetting.
My conscience feels perfectly fine about this.
One by one, they all just run. Now, whereabouts is the portal leading them to?
Outside Mirabar.
Outside Mirabar. Okay.
Not so close that we'll appear right in the line of the sentry, but maybe around a copse of trees or something near the river.
Fair enough. You've met with Harshnag a bunch of times up in that kind of area, so you know roughly where you mean. Okay, so they immediately tear off and begin running. And you guys can see through the portal, which shows you a shimmering version. It's not a complete blank open space, but it's kind of like a waving filter over the land. You can see them all just tear off in different directions. Unless you...
I jump straight through, and I shoot my gun in the air, and I scream, "Nobody move!"
To which point they all drop to the floor, their chains dangling behind them, as they're not chained to one another, but these chains are still on them. Please don't hurt us.
First of all, you're going to need those chains off if you're going to leave. Second of all, we have some food. We're just going to sit around and have a little powwow, chat with you guys, and then let you go on your way.
Jesse, it is important that you know where we are so that you do not freeze to death now that we are back in the frozen north. These lands may not be accustomed. You may not be accustomed to these lands. Let us take care of you.
Loic?
Having moved everyone over to Mirabar, let's move you all actually over to Mirabar. There we go.
Can you explain to me a little bit what these people, would they be dead already to be there as slaves, or would they be live people that have ended up in the Nine Hells?
I'll give them a look over to see if they're physical forms or corporeal at this point or whatever. I guess they would be corporeal if they came over in spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are physical.
This is why I'm asking if they're undead or not. Yeah, because you've explained that you can't come back. You can come back, but you would be undead unless you had a physical thing. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah. Loic, go ahead and roll an investigation check. Okay, because Loic has extensively studied this, unless there is some part of you still native to the material plane, if by whatever means you head back to the material plane, you would be coming back as an undead form. Each of these individuals came back as physical form. So you know that they must still be natives of the material plane. So from whatever reasons, maybe you can talk to them and find out, they were pulled down and sold in this.
Yeah.
When we first encountered them, you said there were 10 of them, and then you put 6 tokens on the map, and then 1 died. So we either have 9 or 5.
You have 9.
Okay. We have 9. slaves.
Various races, ages, agendas, different groupings.
Aaron's going to ask, does anybody know who the orc was?
No. One of the individuals responding let you know. No, we didn't know. They wouldn't let us speak to one another.
Are all of you from the continent known as Faerun?
Yes. You have 3 of them from Neverwinter. 2 of them are from Waterdeep. 3 of them are from Baldur's Gate. And then that leaves 1 who is native to Daggerford. So all along the Sword Coast there.
You guys are in luck. These are all places in our wheelhouse.
We're currently outside Mirabar.
Oh.
You familiar with that?
Those that are from Neverwinter, the 3 individuals, are familiar with Mirabar. We've been those. They've all been in the Hells for different periods of time. A couple of them for a couple of days. Most of them have been there for a while, months at least.
I'm going to just
throw out why they were in the 9 Hells individually over a period of time. Can we try and figure that out?
Yeah, can we get 9
Well,
backstories?
I was gonna say while you guys are chatting with them, and like presumably getting a fire and trying to figure out what's going on, I'm just going to be mentally probing their minds and figuring out, like, seeing the memories of why they were there. Did they sign a contract? Were they kidnapped? Just to see, if they were all there for good reasons, we'll get you home. And if some of them are bad people who signed contracts with the devil that went south on them, maybe I shoot them before anyone has anything to say about it.
If Danrik knew you were doing this, he would be very upset. You signed a contract with
Good
the
thing it's
devil.
all in his head. Good thing Danrik doesn't know about it yet.
That's true. Wanted to voice my objection.
Okay.
Okay. How old's the little one? You said one of them's quite young.
10 years old. Young Kira.
Kira.
She's 10 years old. Her story in particular, she was being trained by the Zentarim and groomed by the Zentarim to work for them and do a lot of the minor tasks that were necessary for in certain espionage type situations. They were trying to build a child network.
Right.
And in one task that she was asked to do, she was told to steal a simple item, a simple little scepter off of a lord in Neverwinter. Unfortunately, the lord caught her, shackled her, and then took her and sold her for getting caught up in the wrong place.
Aaron will say it will be okay in Fee's camp. Let's see if she understands it.
She understands. She responds. It's a little shaky.
Now, is this like she told us this story, or I saw that and I can communicate that?
Both. She is completely honest with you guys about the whole situation because in her mind, she's 100% innocent. She doesn't consider to be her behavior prior to this. She doesn't understand it to have been wrong. This is what she's been taught. This is absolutely normal, and every child at the age of 10 works for the Zens.
So she's just Cat Arya, is who she is. Trained to be a...
Who was the lord that you tried to steal from? Do you know?
No, some high-to-do. I just knew the location. My sources told me a building to break into, and I broke into it.
What was the building? Whereabouts?
What was the address?
512 North Street.
How much was
Neverwinter Boulevard.
how much was their heating
Aaron's
bill?
asking, he's trying to vet and make sure it wasn't his father that sent it to the hells.
Your father being in Waterdeep, and she's in Neverwinter.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Sorry.
Sorry, I thought she said Waterdeep.
Yeah, no, Neverwinter. 3 of the others mentioned that they were working for people, failed, and through contracts that they had with those individuals, failed into slavery through debts and loans and all of that.
But presumably they didn't think slavery would involve getting a trip to the 9 hells. They thought it'd be a material plane slavery situation.
Exactly.
Would Aaron know the leader of the Zentarum in Neverwinter, being that he's the acting leader of acting person of the guild, the Hunters Guild in that area? Would I know that connection?
It's a bit of a difficult connection to have, but go ahead and roll a history check, see if you have encountered him before or would recognize his information. I think that's the best thing I can think of in terms of skill, but if you can think of a different skill that would work.
No. It's,
even if you had met him, then doesn't come to mind in particular. 4 of them, they trying to think of why they had also more mundane kind of stories.
Are any of them villains? Are any of them like bad people who should have been down there?
One of them was previously a warlock who betrayed his patron, or at least had warlock powers, betrayed the patron, and so was captured by the patron and sold off.
It's not necessarily bad.
So I'm gonna share mentally with Danric the memory of what else happening, and I'm just gonna ask Danric. Everyone else seems mundane enough. Fine, we can get them back, but this is a warlock, may have some residual power. What should we do with him?
First,
telepathically, that thought goes to you.
First off, I'm giving you a very dirty look right now, because that's not good. No, I mean, I can think back to you and you can hear it. Like we can have a conversation in our head, right?
Yeah, with just you and me, because it's not
because I know,
it's my mental, it's my talent.
Well, if he didn't, I mean, we have no way to know what he's going to do going forward, and we can't judge him based on things he hasn't done. He might have power, but a lot of people have power, and a lot of power can be used for good, and we don't know where that's going.
I'm going to ask that guy, hey, you, so what do you think you're going to do going forward now that you're free? And then whatever he says, I'm going to try to mentally, see what he's really thinking.
He has no idea, and he starts rambling off about how maybe he'll try and find his family, get back with them, and possibly try to get into the family business. In his mind, he feels completely lost because he spent the better part of about 30 years in service to this patron and had been developing quite a skill set as a fairly high-level warlock. But in the betrayal, all of his powers were wiped away. Imagine yourself having every skill that you had ever trained in suddenly ripped from you, and he feels completely lost and empty with no purpose, but he's trying very well to hide it and talk about the future with his family and all of that.
My new friends.
Yes?
We are the group known as Twilight's Errand. We go around in righting wrongs, as you do. Some
Look
of us.
and Gail are both shaking your heads, but go to Art here.
Our path ahead is very dangerous, but you are welcome to join us on our adventures. if you do not want to join us, we wish you well, and I will pay you out of my pocket so that you can find a room in Mirabar, some food, and passage back to your homes.
They all immediately take you up on the offer of being paid, getting a room, and being able to make their way home.
Very well.
Aaron and Osrin are going to spend some special attention on that tabaxi.
On what?
On the tabaxi, the little girl.
The little girl.
It's a tabaxi, wasn't it?
No.
Yep, she's a tabaxi girl.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. We can ask her if she wants to go back to the Zentarum.
Why not? I failed my task. I'm sure I'll do better next time.
You know you don't need to work for the Zentarum. Do you like working for them?
They make good food.
Does she have family, or is she like an orphan?
Yeah.
She doesn't remember if she does or not. She's just always known the Zentarum. That's it. She was raised by the agents. They taught her. They trained her. Her mind view is a little skewed. The very concept of parents is something that she's, well, yeah, I mean, she was trained. She was led. Her father was the leader of the Zent in that area.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I want to see if she feels like she wants to go back to Zentarum, or if she feels like she wants to perhaps pursue something else, or if she was ill-treated when she was there.
You can roll an insight check.
Yeah.
You gonna roll with
Yeah,
me?
I'll roll as well. I'm just concerned that we're about to wave off a 10-year-old. Off you go.
Maybe we can keep her with us to bring her back safely, and we'll rub off on her on the way.
It's fine.
Yeah, maybe.
She stays on the ship for the most part while we're heading there.
Yeah.
Okay. Osrin, almost motherly instincts just kicking in to really boost that into overdrive. There is pure innocence in this child. And so she wants to go back. You can tell that that's what she wants to do, but not so much because she feels like she needs to or anything like that. It's just she seems like that's what she does. That's her option. She goes back. She doesn't know anything else, to want anything else. And you can tell.
Okay. I'm going to say to her that I know this is all you know, but just because they feed you good food doesn't mean that they care for you. And I'm not saying that they don't, and that's how you've been raised, but you have a chance. If you wanted to have a different life, you have a chance. We can take some time, we can have a chat. And if there's anywhere you'd rather be or anything you'd like to try,
You can just hang out with us for a little bit if you like. See what other things go on. We don't have to take you back to Neverwinter straight away.
provided we can trust you as well.
Roll a persuasion check. Very good. She's starting to warm up to you. It seems that she says, "If you want me to stay, I can stay. I don't mind."
Okay. That's cool. Stay with us for a bit then. We'll get you something to eat.
Okay. She will be your responsibility.
Yeah.
You need to feed her, clothe her, change her, all of that.
Well, she's 10. I'm hoping she can do that bit herself.
Well,
Yeah.
But if she goes on the carpet, you have to clean it up.
Just
Does
like-
she
We
have
need
a
litter
name?
box.
Yes. She has a name.
Amen.
I don't want to use.
While that's going on, Gamma will pull out his tools and he will remove everybody's shackles and get them all fully cleaned off in that way. And maybe recommend that Loic maybe prestidigitate some, just make him look a little better.
I am actually doing something else.
Her name is
I'll do it.
Sethas.
Stephas.
I'll magic clean him.
Okay,
If you,
so you'll clean them up. They all feel pretty good. They take the money off of Artir, and unless you plan to do anything else once they're clean and unshackled, they will head into Mirabar.
I was going to walk with them into Mirabar.
You're going to take them?
I was like,
Aaron, do you want to stay?
Hmm?
Do you want to stay?
What, stay here? No.
We need to do something.
Yeah, we do.
I'm going to ask Gamel if we can get Theon out of his pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
and I was going to ask Aaron and Loic if they remembered where their giant friend's bar was, so I can see if he has rooms.
It was right up against the northern wall. So it seems kind of almost fitting that you've landed not far from that side of the wall. So he'll have rooms. And for you, he'll even take care of them for a couple of days for free. Because he likes you guys. Loic, what you going to say?
So, while everybody was fussing over the prisoners, Loic was ritual casting Identify on his shiny new dagger.
Ah, yes. Okay, so the Dagger of Nisus. As soon as you finish the ritual casting, your eyes flare with that familial magical blue, and you see into it and immediately gain an understanding of this weapon. It is a +3 dagger if you were to use it in combat. Okay. Aside from that, when hitting someone with it, if you were to score a crit, or the target is willing, then or incapacitated rather, you actually can tear a portion of their soul out and store it within the dagger. 24 hours later, that portion of the soul will return to its original owner, unless you are able to steal the soul and remove it from the dagger into another storage facility, as you know. When you steal a portion of someone's soul, they temporarily lose a hit die, and their hit point maximum reduces by the hit die plus their con modifier.
Do you have a handout or anything for it?
I think I never actually finished it.
Okay, I have notes. You just help me keep track of it.
Will do. I will add it to your quest notes
Perfect.
at some point today. Right, but that is everything that you know of it. It doesn't require attunement, because I know you're pretty much full up on attunement slots, and you're probably not going to use it for combat either. So.
Well, it's a +3, so if I have any reason to do any kind of melee tentacle shenaniganery, you know I'm going to use it.
True. All right. Anything else from you guys? What else are you going to be doing in Mirabar?
Our boat is supposed to be around here, isn't it?
It
Or is it
was
from Luskin?
sent from Luskin to Mirabar when we left for Dis. So depending on how fast that travel is, the boat may or may not be here. And how long we were in Dis.
These guys are fairly slow with just getting used to the ship as much as anything. They slowly make their way. They'll still be another day or so.
You know, we just survived a pretty big fight. I just got my soul back. We're already at Harshnag's Tavern. Drinks on me tonight, guys.
Aaron and Osrin and the Tabaxi. So we're a bit confused about the name on because you originally named her Kira and now you named.
Did I say that? Then sorry. She is Kira. Sorry, I forgot that I had given her an actual name in the session.
Well, one's her street name, and then the other is her name from before. You know.
When Loa asked for it again, I thought maybe I hadn't given it out. No, Kira. Someone.
So.
I'm gonna need some time. I need to try and bring back my pet.
Okay, and Kira cannot be your animal companion.
No.
Erin is actually, curiously, that she's quite in down with the Zentarium. She might have some rogue abilities, and Erin's really up for like playing a bit of cat and mouse with her. It's just why they're done, right? To see, like, Aaron wants to practice some skills that he might have learned from Ilya that he's not really practiced very much, and he wants to see what this other rogue can show him for like dodging in and out of areas. So while Osrin's doing her ritual, he's going to see if Kira wants to sort of do a little bit of training, see if she's interested in doing stuff like that.
You're going to play dad?
Just keep her occupied and get something out of it at the same time.
Okay. Have we got Theon ready?
Theon, I've got Theon from thingy, so
Okay.
Theon's ready to go.
Okay.
Also, Aaron will at some point during those 8 hours, he will also bury the orc.
Fair enough. All right. Kira would gladly go out with you and exercise with you and practice. However, she has 4 levels of exhaustion.
Oh, okay. We'll feed her then.
Does she need got any spare clothes for her as well?
I've got some.
Okay for now. If you've got anything to give her, she'll gladly take it.
I've got food and water and rations, and I have some random clothes.
Okay.
In a bag of holding. So
it'll take a couple days before she's strong enough to really do any sort of physical exercise with you. 2 days at least.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So, Osrin, you head into the woods.
Yeah.
The woods north of, the nearest woods near the Mirabar itself are completely covered in snow. It's very cold. It's up by the mountain tops, but you find yourself a quiet location to go and set up in. Let me just pull us over to the map of the forest. Or at least the plains out here, where we see Osrin. We pull her by herself, I'm assuming. No one else is with Osrin.
I would have taken Kira and been there, but I would have been at a distance where I could see her, but I would have been out of her way, so she didn't disturb.
The area around you, you step into a clearing just past the trees. The trees are very barren and bare, broken down as the leaves have fallen. It's the base of the mountains. It's the heart of winter. Or at least it feels that way. You know the ritual. You've had to do it at least once before with previous animal companions. So you know that what you need to do is you need to bury Theon's body and then begin to pray and attune yourself to the nature of the area around you. So you begin to dig out the grave, placing Theon inside very carefully, brushing off his coat to make sure it looks nice and clean and neat, as respectful as you possibly can, carefully covering his body up with the stones, and you begin your 8-hour ritual. It's a long process. You focus on nature itself. There are moments where your mind almost slips in and out of consciousness as you almost fall asleep for a moment, listening to the sounds of the birds in the distance, feeling the breeze pass you, hearing the sounds of trees creaking, almost as if they're speaking to you. At the end of the 8 hours, when you're feeling fairly exhausted and tired, you sit there and you focus. Your mind connects with another presence nearby. This creature slowly walks from behind a tree towards you. In stark contrast to the snowy plains and this the white layer that completely blankets everything, you see a pitch black form stepping towards you. An old friend has materialized and is moving towards you as Jag, your pet panther,
Yes.
your first animal companion, steps out from among the trees. He
Hello, you. And I
runs
lift up.
straight towards you and tackles you down on the ground. It's
Oh,
a huge panther, but it's just like a big cuddly teddy.
yes. Oh, I've missed you so much. I had to, yeah, just, I needed to bring you back. Missed you so much. Very happy.
He's not alone. Another dark figure steps out from behind trees, this time humanoid figure stepping towards you. Dark, completely cloaked, covered, elven individual. Last time you saw him, he was carrying Jag's body back towards you, as Ilya has come to drop off Jag. Ilya, being a previous party member way back in the Underdark, left the adventure when Jag had died via a purple worm. He's been out adventuring and having some fun, and is Aaron with Osrin?
Aaron's he's a distance away, but he's nearby.
You
Aaron,
must have heard Jack, surely.
you saw Jag tackle Osrin, and you saw Ilya step out from behind the shadows.
Anyone can see Ilya, really?
All black in the snow.
Aaron's gonna be a bit confused, and he's going to slowly approach.
As you approach, he will wave, greet you, like an old friend, as if it hasn't been a year or so since you last met.
Yeah, he's gonna be a little taken aback. We looked for you. Where have you been?
I've been busy. The order has things to do, and we've been spreading our influence quite a bit. I've been busy.
I know. I've run into a few of our assets.
And I've run into a few of your friends.
Which ones?
Hail from Luskan. Dark-skinned fellas.
Ah, those friends.
They seem to like you.
Well, we couldn't really shrug them off after our little trip into the Underdark.
Anyways, I am here because Jag felt the pull. It is time that I pass him back to Osrin. Our adventures have been great. Our adventures have been many, but it is time for me to go.
By the way, have you still got your chest piece?
No. I got rid of that and the chalice a long time ago.
Good to hear. I was about to say, we just found out a way of destroying them. I was going to try and do you a favor. But,
A drow gave me a method of getting rid of them, so I did so.
You don't need to leave so soon. We can catch up if you like.
I have a little bit of time, but not too much. I must be headed to. Well, I must be on the road by tomorrow.
Oh, we've got Loic down there. I'm sure he'd love to see you. You know Loic.
I remember Loic. And a moment flashes back to the first time Ilya ever met Loic. Loic naturally casts suggestion on him, or attempts to do so, as they first met. I can't remember why. I can't remember what...
Because he was our quest giver and he wasn't giving us the quest.
Fair enough.
Come on.
All right. Yeah, I can stick around for the night.
Cool.
And he'll return to... but now... So, Osrin, you have Jag. As you have leveled up, so has Jag. I believe Jag's character sheet is all ready and set up.
Yes.
Let me shift the control of that from just Aaron to everyone.
Oh, no, we got one on there.
But yes, it is a panther named Jaguar. All right. So, what's everyone doing? You head back to Mirabar. I know that Artir said he was taking the slaves, the rescued slaves, to Harshnag's bar. He's happy to see them. Happy everything's going well. His establishment is going pretty well. They've rebuilt the building quite a bit, expanded it somewhat. It was broken down and there were parts missing last time you were there. Now they've developed it quite big, or big enough for him at least. And it's quite busy. Lots of different people are hanging out in there. It seems like the refuge for the non-normal individuals within Mirabar. So not your high-to-do nobles and rich humans. It has everything else. Dwarves. There's even some Duergar running around in there. Friendly, but Duergar. What's everyone doing?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm going to pay for drinks for those of the group who want to hang out and hang out in Harshnag's bar for the night.
I will eventually need someone who's relatively sober, Danric, and somebody
Maybe
who's
that's
good
not
with a dagger.
Okay.
Nobody volunteers, I'll pick.
Is this straight away or is this the evening? Are we there?
Before we sleep.
So you guys have a chance to be back by this point.
Okay.
Hey, look what we found.
Celia. Hey.
Aye.
I'm gonna go to the bar, get a drink.
Yeah.
Look what else we found. And Jag will be here.
Jack's gonna run up to Loic.
I'm backing away. Oh, there, kitty. Hey.
It'll start purring and just waving at you.
Okay. Feeling good today, huh? Okay, good.
Any cute?
He can be. He can also not be.
So, who is going to help Loic other than Danric?
I have a 10-year-old attached to me at the moment, as well as the Jag, so.
No, look some. Good.
Loic
I'll-
needs to as well.
like myself.
So it looks like Aaron has offered. What do you need him for?
I need you two to come with me, and we need to go set the fort up. It is time.
Oh,
Give me a stiff drink. I'll probably need it one more when we come back.
okay. Kiri, stay with me. You don't need to see any of that.
She stays with you. All right. So Danric, Aaron, and Loic head outside, round the back of the inn, where it's quiet, and they, you set up the fort.
First, we're all going to go up to the second floor where the hookah is, and I'm going to load some special stuff into that thing and start imbibing in it immediately.
Roll a con save. You are poisoned,
That's fine.
but in a
But-
good way.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Great. That's perfect. That's exactly right. All right, so okay. All right. I need bed. I'm going to go sit in the bed, and then I'm going to hand Aaron the dagger of Nesis and pull out the 2 pearls of power that are empty and ready. Set them down, lay back, and brace myself.
Loic or Danric is just very like, what is going on? This does not look wholesome.
So
Aaron.
you grab hold of this dagger that Loic hands to you, and it feels dark. Like it is tingling your primeval awareness. The whole fiendish nature of it is setting off alarm bells. What are you doing with it?
Don't.
You know
Not-
I've got this, like, but
Nowhere vital.
You're absolutely sure.
This is a
What?
theoretical experiment. I can only be so sure, but as sure as I can be, I am.
For my conscience, are you sure?
As sure as I can be, I am.
Okay.
Again, this is all
Danric,
theoretical.
are you ready?
Yep. Again, nowhere vital.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna aim for the top of the shoulder, just in here above the lung.
Okay. All right. So because Loic is willing, it's perfectly fine. It's okay to do. I'm going to need you to roll 1d4 plus 3.
God, don't miss.
It's not about hit or miss.
I was about to say.
Please let me do it. I'm just gonna place it and then punch down with it.
Okay. Not really trying not to put too much effort into it. The very moment the dagger touches the skin, you can see it's already beginning to pierce it. This dagger is meant to cut flesh. You just give it a little push into the shoulder. Loic, you feel that sting instantly as the blade seeks deep between the bones of your shoulder. You take 5 points of piercing damage. I need you to roll a hit dice. One of your many, because you've been collecting a few. 3. Okay, so you lose that hit die, and your hit point maximum and your current hit points reduced by 3.
That was the best roll we could have done.
Yep. And Aaron,
Mhm.
as you pull the blade back, you can see a thin stream of white, cloudy mist just seep from the wound all over the blade before being almost breathed into the hilt, where it begins to hum and vibrate in your hand. You felt something similar to this back when you were using Black Razor, but it's different. It's not devouring, it's storing. You can feel the energy of the soul within the blade.
This is bad. This is very bad. I don't.
What it like.
This is not good.
we need to do.
You can hand me the dagger.
I'm gonna flip it.
And then I'll point it at one of the pearls. And
Then
command word.
go ahead and expend a spell slot.
Okay.
Any spell level. All right. Using that, pouring that arcane energy into both the pearl of power and the dagger for a moment, you activate the vacuum within the pearl. It pulls the energy in the soul piece from the dagger, which immediately stops humming. And now you have a Loic soul fragment.
I hand the dagger back to Aaron again and say, again!
I've heard a story about a guy who did this a lot. Did not end well.
We're making 2. I didn't think that was the plan.
The plan originally was to make 3.
Okay. I'm going to go on the other side in case we have to make a fresh wound.
I know what it feels like now. I'm expecting it. It's good.
You ready? 1,
Yep.
2.
Aaron, go ahead and roll 1d4 plus 3 again, and then Loic, roll another hit die.
Oh, that's right.
Had to cancel the other one out.
Same again.
Okay, so Loic, you take 5 points of damage from the actual initial dagger attack. He pulls out the dagger, seeps in another fragment of your soul out. Your hit point maximum and your current hit points decrease by 8, and you lose that hit dice. Aaron then hands you back the dagger. You continue the process one more time. Expend a spell slot. No, you're not doing that yet. Yeah, you expend a spell slot into another pearl, and you now have 2 Loic soul fragments. Make a note of that.
Yeah, and we're stopping there.
Okay. All right. You feel a little shaky, Loic. You feel incomplete, but at least for now, you're stable. You do now understand what was meant when you heard about the instability of this sort of thing, and how if you do this too much in a short period of time, break off too many fragments at once, your entire soul could become fragmented and broken completely.
Okay. Good thing I had all those extra souls that I ate to work with, huh?
Yep.
All right. That's it then. The next step is to make my last trip to Pandemonium for a while.
All right. You okay, Loic?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're looking a bit peaky.
Well, that's probably the drugs that I just still feeling that.
Did you find some good ones?
As good as I could. Meh.
Danric, you alright? Looking at Danric, Danric doesn't. What Danric look like right now?
Danric is holding back, throwing up inside his mouth a little bit, because this is, I mean, that's a soul rendered from a body twice, or rended, not rendered. That's not something, because he didn't really entirely understand what this all really meant. This dagger, he just knew it was something that was a little icky, and he wasn't totally happy about. But watching it happen was more than his little heart was ready for. So he's a little off put, to say the least.
But you've seen what a soul is made of now, at least
I have.
in part. Right. With that, do you head back and join the revelries?
I'm going to go ahead and enact the system completely. So I'm going to head to Pandemonium, but I will meet you guys back around in like 2 seconds.
We've probably got a day load, so. So how is it going down?
So, using the cube, this is the second charge of the day, to open up the portal as it shimmers and shifts, sending you to your hovel in Pandemonium. Your progress on this hovel has been pretty extensive. It's fairly secure in its location. The way that you've dug actually into the rock and the heart of the landscape has been specifically to ensure that the howling winds within the Pandemonium do not come too close. You can still hear them, but they're not powerful enough to really be driving you crazy. It's more like white noise at this point. Your hovel in Pandemonium is bare, though, right? You haven't put anything in it. It's just a big empty hole.
It's got fixtures made out of stone, so it's got like a fireplace, it's got a stone table, that kind of thing, but nothing made out of fabric or anything.
Okay.
Or wood. Yet. So I will go down to the vault area. That's actually the use of a fly spell. So I will go ahead and check that off. And then I will replace the gem that has Imrith in it. I'll pick that up and then I'll put the cube. And then with my third and final charge, I will poke the button back to the material plane. Call out to my god wherever he may be. It'll be a second before I see you again, but I'll be back soon. And then I'll jump through the hole without the gate.
Yep. You step through the gate, it closes behind you, leaving the cubic gate item off in Pandemonium, which will slow down some travel somewhat for you and your party. But you now have 3 soul gems on your person as you pass back. And you popping back to the same location, literally the same spot?
Yeah, behind the tavern.
Yep, okay. You won't be able to pop into the tower, but you can pop just next to it.
Oh, I would have collapsed the tower before I left. That goes with me. That stays on.
Fair enough. Cool. So now, as described in Loic's studies, from this point on, as long as a portion of Loic's soul remains on and native to the material plane, whenever he is killed, if ever he is killed, his soul, rest of his soul, which is destined for Pandemonium, will go to Pandemonium. He will then have to find his way, which might take him some time, but find his way to his little hovel, where he will be able to use the cubic gate, and since he's still native, hone back in to the material plane. However, the process of doing so will use up the portion of the soul that is one portion that is remaining. So one of these soul gems will be used up each time you do that. But at least you have a form of semi-immortality, which is good.
Horcruxes is what they are.
When Loic comes back, cheers.
Aaron's gonna just pat Danric down. Are you really all right?
I mean,
it's just after Loic's gone and he's out of earshot and we've walked out. You go.
I mean, I don't have a choice but to be okay, so yes. But that was not a thing that I wanted to see. But I trust Loic for some strange reason, because I don't understand his mind, but it all seems to work out as best as it can. So
any of us understand his mind, Danric, but
I don't think he understands his mind at this point. The more we're spending together, the more time I think it's just a strange, fractured, chaotic place, and I don't know. But I'm not okay, but I'm okay, if that makes any sense.
I've kind of realised it's organized chaos with Loic.
Yeah. I
But
think
he has a plan, and
might not connect.
He's never done anything to cause us harm, ever.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, I had the same feelings, and now I trust him. And he thinks this is right. It's going to work. It's fine. He likes playing with with the he's on the fringe. He likes to play with our reality, and he wants to continue to do that. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. I
All
like
the
our
time.
reality. It's a good reality. It's better. This is dangerous, but yeah, it's all part of the package. I guess when things get,
He gets us out of scrapes, so
yeah, and for that, I mean, we would have been dead multiple times, more times than you've already all collectively been dead. So for that, he's worthwhile, but makes me worried sometimes. And I sometimes worry what Selyun thinks about me hanging out with someone like him.
I don't know much about your god. I'm not very. The closest I could call to a god is Malachi, but I don't pray to her directly. I said that to Altair the other day, but.
I mean, Selyun believes in freedom, and there are probably priests of Selyun that aren't that far off from the scatteredness of Loic, which is what I have to tell myself every night to get to sleep. But she guides people through the night. She gets people to where they need to be, and she lets them make the choices for themselves. They have followers from many walks of life because of the freedom available. And as long as you're doing good and you're independent and you're making those choices for yourself, then it's fine. And it seems like Loic, even though he operates on a different plane, which maybe that's why Pandemonium really is the best place for him right now, he's pointed in the right direction, as well as I can tell.
Loic is the freest person I know.
Well, that's good. That's good. As long as we don't ever wind up inadvertently in the way of that freedom, I think we should be good.
He won't mess with your freedom if you don't mess with his, and that's his rule.
That's the plan. How about those drinks now?
Let's go get a drink.
Yeah.
I want to hear you play.
After that. Ooh, I got so many instruments.
By this point, all of the former slaves, completely intoxicated, they've drowned them. They've filled themselves up with lots of food, but then lots of alcohol as well, to really just enjoy freedom for once. And they're very quickly, since they're so exhausted, they are lightweights. So they unconscious. Oh yeah, Kira can kick them back like nobody's business.
I don't know how, because I was the one who was just going to sort of leave them behind, but everyone else went and did errands, and I found myself alone in the bar with all these people. So they get drunk and tired, and then I take them up to their rooms and put them into bed, and cannot figure out how I wound up in this situation.
Before we get in there to drink, if we are having a night of revelry, just since Aaron and I did share that ridiculous situation, I'm going to cast Enhance Ability Constitution for both of us so we can handle our liquor a little better. So I imagine I can spare that now so we can enjoy these drinks a little more than we could maybe have otherwise.
Fair enough. The two of you work harder than anyone else to get to that point of getting tipsy, but then that lasts a lot longer, which is good.
Yeah, ride that buzz.
Yeah.
I'm going to imagine once Danrick gets to a certain point, all bets are off on the songs and the instruments and what constitutes an instrument for him, because he is proficient in drums. And if there are utensils and bar stools available, I'm sure he will be trying to start a drum circle with these people at the bar.
Roll a performance check for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. It takes a bit of time to get into the swing of things. After a couple more drinks, you really get into the mood. At one point towards the end of the night, you end up playing on just a set of spoons, because
Hey.
all of the other instruments have been handed out and everyone else is just having a good time. You're enjoying yourself. You're playing a whole bunch of stream of medleys of songs. It's a good night. It's a good night.
All right.
So you all enjoy yourselves. You all rest, recuperate, gain the benefits of a full long rest
God.
once you've slept. Loic, you're no longer poisoned afterwards, which is good. In the morning, though, obviously the day is yours. You guys are free to do whatever you wish.
I'd like to have a chat with Harshnag.
Okay.
Harshnag, you are very kind to look over these freed captives. I wish to give you this coin purse for your safekeeping for when they decide they want to be on their way. Since it seems like it is difficult for them to hold their drinks at this moment. I do not wish to entrust them with their own way and method back home. So I've worked it out while everyone was doing their things.
Okay.
Player's Handbook has a cost for the service of transportation of 3 copper pieces per mile, and from Mirabar to Luskin to Neverwinter to Waterdeep to Daggerford to Baldur's Gate. Total costs about 212 gold pieces, and then I'd throw in an extra 10 for each person so that they have food, money, and if they want to get drinks or anything like that.
Okay. Does that include money for Kira to go to Neverwinter?
It did not include that,
Okay.
because I thought
All right. So that's
that she'd be going with the Lyokas.
Actually, Aaron's going to have a chat with Ilya about that.
okay.
He's going to explain where he got Kira from. And he's going to ask if you know, he obviously knows connections. He's from Neverwinter, he's from that guild. If he was inclined to take it, I want to get an opinion. If he's inclined to take it back, or maybe can offer her a better situation.
Ilya will, since he's originally from the Neverwinter Guild of the Zentarim, he's able to shed a little bit more light into the whole situation and the training of Kira. He explains that the Zents, not too long ago, about 15, 20 years ago, began experimenting with just teaching people who are younger and younger and younger, trying to wean out the idea that the Zentarim are evil, and so they will just do whatever they want, and they're effectively creating true neutral assassins, because evil, good, chaotic, lawful, any other spectrum, they tend to, or at least they've had problems with in the past. The people, when they have their own opinions, sometimes go off and do their own thing. So the Zentarim began trying to create true neutral thieves and assassins, and Kira would have been one of those that was a thief, or at least groomed to be such. He will not take her back to Neverwinter, as he is aware of the situation. Her task was actually an attempt by the Zentarim there to actually get rid of her.
Oh.
As they were trying to remove any sort of evidence of raising children from childhood and kidnapping children and all of that. So they sent her on a task that could not be succeeded, in hopes that it would cause someone else to deal with her. And the house that they had picked was someone that they knew would want to deal with the child in such a quiet way that it wouldn't get back to the Zentarim.
Does he know the house?
He doesn't know the house, but he knows that they did this with all of the children at the time. There's quite a few of them.
Okay.
And part of the stuff that he has been working on has been to create an order that is what the Zentarim should be. The order of the head of the Green Dragon that you and he started all those years ago in Phandalin is living quite strong, and so what he intends to do is take her if you let him take her to work for him, being paid to work as an apprentice within the order.
Okay, I don't want to force her, but we'll try to persuade her. I don't want to. I don't know. Should we tell? How would you persuade her? I don't want to tell her that there's an and try to kill her.
I think she's already up for a different opportunity. If we offer her paid work and a new way, she may actually just go, well, actually, I'm going to get fed, looked after, and paid. You might not even need to tell her. She can find out when she's older.
If the head of the Green Dragon is as closely knit to the Zentarim in the first place, would she know the difference?
Not at first, especially with him. His ability to impersonate and disguise himself, not only with the fact that he is from Neverwinter and he knows the people that would have been her superiors and the people that she would answer to, he is able to ensure that she is slowly assimilated into the order properly.
Okay, maybe we should do it that way then. Subtle rather than a thing. Well, basically, I won't lie to her. I'll just say, well, Ilya here is part of your guild. Technically, that's true still. And he's gonna look after you. But for that, Aaron would like to know if you know, we've got another day. I keep getting beaten up, Ilya. I keep seeing ways for you, how you disengage and stuff like that. And can you show me how to do that? Can we spend some time?
Sure. Does a 20 hit you?
Yes.
He gives you a nice big slap around the face. Let's start training. And
do that again.
No. So he will take some time. He does have to be by dusk of this day. He needs to be moving on because he needs to get down into Waterdeep soon, and then he's got some business down in Greenest. So.
Okay, yeah. He just wants to spend some time with his buddy and just hang out and maybe have Jag engaged, because we haven't had Jag about. We all of us can just hang out.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. He shares some of his stories, his adventures. They seem almost as incredulous as you, but they were focused all around building up the order. He's managed to convince most merchants that he's come across, or at least the cities that he's traveled in, he's managed to get at least one merchant in the city to be unknowingly part of his order. So it required a lot of dragon heads, but he did it, which is good.
Is he in need of one? I think I've still got one in the bag from that green dragon week.
We've still got a green dragon head in the bag.
He had to replace it, so.
That's cool.
Right. So you guys have a good time. What else are you doing? Where are you going?
My friends, I think our next leg of the journey is to find this flying cloud castle.
Danric, you have someone there, don't you?
I do. My lady love Bridget is sitting in a trap that we are going to have to spring, seems like. Or at least we don't have to, but I would be greatly appreciated if we do.
The fortress is supposed to be so difficult to understand that it is a fortress from the bottom side that you cannot distinguish it from the sky or surrounding cloud matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that I could figure whereabouts it is if we can get some dates, some times in which it's been seen. For instance, I believe someone told us it floated around Parnast. If we knew when that happened, or if we knew, if Bridget knows, what when she was taken and from where,
Mm-hmm.
then I think I could plot a course.
Okay.
I can track giants for up to 6 miles.
Do they
Okay.
leave tracks in the sky? How does that
If
work?
they ever
Not
set down,
curious.
she could. But no, cloud giants don't tend to leave tracks in the sky.
Although tracking can be scent and stuff too, right? It's not just following footprints. It's
Yeah,
Just-
I've got primal awareness.
Mhm.
So would I need to follow tracks, or could I not just?
If you can get within 6 miles of them,
Yeah.
then
we have our griffins.
absolutely
We can just fly
you'd
around.
be able to use it
And I can fly.
repeatedly.
Oh right, you don't need that.
Okay.
So we just need a way to contact this Bridget again to see if she can give us any more information.
Oh, we've contacted her before, so I feel like we can do that.
Yeah, I've got a bigger spell that I can use for
Mhm.
that.
Great. How do we do it? Let's do it.
Artier's done this recently. What it is I turn you into a dream messenger.
Ooh,
So does that sound good to you? I
that
don't.
sounds great.
Yeah, I think she'd appreciate seeing your face, probably.
I would hope. It's been a while.
So after that day has passed, I'll have to. I didn't prepare it for the disc trip, so it'll have to be sometime the following day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Danrik, it's gonna be so cool. You can control all facets of the dream. So you can take you can take your lady love on like the primo date that you've been saving up for her.
Great. Like the sound of that. I'll have to shower, bathe myself up, get a nice new outfit. Or can I change that in the dream too?
You could change that in the dream too.
Ooh, can I be
Yep.
tall?
You could be tall in the dream. Yeah, you could be anything you want.
Wow. Possibilities are endless.
There could be several wardrobe changes. This is
I like this.
You don't need to be tall, my friend. She loves you the way you are.
I know. I can make her tall too, and then she won't even notice. And then we'll both just be tall.
Because in your dreams, you two are tall.
Yes. Our love is the largest thing in this world, and it should be portrayed appropriately.
You have actually tickled a few people there with that. That's good. All right. Anything that you guys are going to be doing before this dream sequence?
yeah, we need to find out. Yeah, that's
All right.
Then
So you take what time you need to refresh, get ready. You wait until what you can assume to be reasonable that she would be going to sleep. And you cast Dream. We move to the imagination and visual scape that Danrik is now going to explain to us, as he can control what he shows, how he shows it, and how everything looks.
All right. Well, there is a string quartet of animated instruments. There's not any people playing it. They're just playing themselves. Playing some of the more melodic hymns to Selene. And there is a single table. Otherwise, it's a pretty empty space. Like I'm almost just picturing just like a white empty place, so it's just the two of us. And so yeah, so it's just the two of us, but there's a table with a modest amount of food on it, game hen, something small, something halfling sized, candle, 2 chairs for us to sit in and enjoy a nice food and chat, so we can figure out what's going on and hopefully be able to help each other or help her.
Okay. You get it all prepared. You begin getting everything ready, and then, sure enough, slowly but surely, she will begin to materialize, as beautiful as you remember, as she always is. She appears before you, confused.
Oh, I make myself look just a little bit more muscular and in shape than Danric really is. Also, just I want to make sure that that's part of that too. Nothing unbelievable, but his since he wears like the vest and everything, his arms are just a little more bulgy. You can kind of see his pecs are struggling to stay into his outfit, but nothing too crazy.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a charisma-based skill check. Any of them that you wish to use.
Well,
in this.
It did not show up. Let me try clicking that one more time. Oh, there it is.
It's not appeared for me. What does it say?
It's a 26. 13 plus 13.
Fairly good. All right. So she doesn't notice in terms of, like, it's not too in her face that you've gotten bigger and buffer. It looks almost natural that you could have improved yourself for her in the time since you've last seen each other. But she recognizes you immediately, runs out to you, arms wrapped around your neck. Oh, is this a dream?
Yes, it is. But this is really me in this dream. And I'm sure you've studied enough to know that this kind of thing is possible. For me to visit you as you slumber. And I'm gonna hold her after we're done hugging. Just hold her at like arm's length, so I can just take her in and kind of see her and appreciate her.
Okay, just pulling in Danric and Brigitte.
Oh.
What? I'm assuming this is your doing. What's?
So we got the letter from you fairly recently, and we want to come help. And we need to get some information so we can figure out where exactly you are.
I've been leaving breadcrumbs in our usual places.
Okay.
Whenever we get a chance, the city, though it doesn't ever set foot on the ground, the giants do. From time to time, they have took me with them for one reason or another, mostly just to keep me within their line of sight. But when I can, I visit Saloon and try to leave breadcrumbs. Our last stop was just before you last contacted me. It was in Parnast.
Okay. How long? How long ago was that? So
you used. It was literally the day before you went to Dis that you used the sending to contact her. So all in all, it's been maybe 3 nights, 3 days since then.
Okay.
So just a couple days before that, she went to Parnast and has been moving since.
Have you stopped at all since then and not left the fortress, or has it been in constant movement?
It's been moving, but slowly. I don't know where we are, but it's nothing but desert on the right, forests on the left.
Mhm. Okay.
I don't know where we're going from this point on, but
Okay. Well, we hopefully have means to find you, and we will find you. You mentioned before you think this is a trap. What do you think the trap is?
the giant keeps mumbling about the great blue lady slain before her time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened.
He's angry at you and everyone.
Yeah,
because of it.
She wasn't so great, but it does happen.
He's been gathering as many other cloud giants as he can since then. Not a lot have followed him, but some have.
Do you know how many?
I don't.
Okay. Is the trap? I mean, do you know he's just hoping we take the bait and he'll attack us when we come there, or is there something more to it?
He has full control over the castle. And I believe he intends to lure you in to the castle itself, where he can use it to trap you.
Trap how? Like keep us there, trap, or attack us?
Both.
Oh, good.
All manner of nightmares these things keep speaking of. I've
Have you
seen
done any-
people torn to pieces for humor,
Oh, that's not
for
good.
sport.
Has he done anything to you?
No.
Okay, good.
I
Do
hope
you know
this
if he
dream
tends
will never end.
Oh,
Don't send
well.
me back.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to get you out of there soon. Trying to think. How are you otherwise? How's worship?
Well, captivity does kind of put a damper on this sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you have a window? Can you see the stars, the sun, the moon?
No,
Oh,
I have a
That's not good.
cage.
a cage?
Yes.
Oh,
Keeps me in a cage below the castle.
below the castle. Okay. You've left and come in. Do you know how we could get in? If there's exits or entrances that we could use to get in a little more quietly?
The only way we've traveled through is there are stables next to the courtyard. They use wyverns and dragons to some lesser dragons, smaller dragons, to travel from ground to air.
Okay.
Wherever they need to.
Okay. Do you know when they're stopping next?
No.
No. Okay. Do you think there's any way we can pull them out? Like, do they want us that badly?
If you can get a message to him somehow. Maybe.
Do you think that would be more risky or less risky than us just jumping in there? Maybe. Okay. Oh.
He feels secure in his castle.
We've encountered a lot of people that feel very secure in their position, and that hasn't stopped us from stopping them from doing bad things.
True.
So, be glad that I got in with this sort that I have, because they are more than capable of rescuing you.
Good. Good.
Oh yeah.
Don't take too long.
Oh, we don't plan to. We're very fast. We're very efficient.
Good.
In and out. You know how it is. Now there's food here, so if you want to let this dream last a little bit longer, you can have some wine, have some fowl, and just enjoy the music, you know. Because I mean, in dream, time is basically infinite, so enjoy it while we're here, you know.
Okay. As we fade to black on Denric and Bridget, we return to the world at hand. The dream goes on. I don't know if Loic, as the person that casts the dream, gets to know what happens in it, but he'll probably be waiting for some debrief once it's done.
There'll be some debriefing.
And while we debrief, we're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break. Join us back in 15 minutes once we've had a bit. See ya. Welcome back after the short break, everyone. Everyone is searching desperately for something high above them. We join up the back again as the party are gathering together on the morn of yet another day. Danrik has just had the dream sequence and waking up really quite chipper, having rested well. Everyone gathers together at Harshnag's bar bright and early. It's about 2 hours after sunrise, maybe about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around that. What are you doing, Danrik?
Slap Danrik on the shoulder. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Had a good dream last night?
Well, a gentleman doesn't tell much, but I do have things to tell about that we could talk about. But there's going to be some details omitted. Maybe we can go over a little bit later. But yeah, so is everybody here?
Everyone has gathered together. Everyone is ready and eager to find out what the next leg of the journey is.
All right. Well, from what I got from Bridget, first off, they're keeping her in a cage, and that is just uncalled for. And I don't like that. Nobody should be kept in a cage. Even the worst people should be kept in cages. It's just not good. Secondly, they occasionally let her out. And just before we contacted her, they were in Parnast. And they've been airborne since then. So she doesn't know where they are, but she says that everything on the right is desert and everything on the left is forest. And I'm sure we can narrow down from how long ago she was in Parnas to what kind of area that could possibly be to figure out what it is. And no surprises here. They're mad that we slew the Great Blue Lady, and they want to exact revenge upon us. She doesn't know how many storm giants, but she said a bunch are up there ready to get their one up on us. But I'm pretty confident.
Giants?
Did she say? Hold on. Did I remember that wrong? Cloud giants. Cloud giants. Sorry, I misspoke. Danrik though said cloud giants correctly. There was no mistake there. That was all me. Yeah. There were a number of cloud giants that have come to help avenge their fallen lady, but I think we can handle this. We've handled plenty.
Who do you think they mean? The blue lady, that is. Who do they think that we killed?
I don't.
Why would cloud giants be upset with the death of a blue dragon?
She had many people beholden to her at the end. She's very good at making people fall into her service.
What color are the storm giants?
Usually kind of...
Storm giant colored?
They're blue.
They're blue. They're fairly grayish blue hue skin.
Do you think that they think that we killed Hecaton's wife?
Yeah, that's actually possible, and it could
right.
also have something to do with Nim and Mirren, which we never followed up on and have no idea about. These are all good questions.
So he may be upset with us for... I mean, there are plenty of good reasons to be upset with us, but that is not one of them.
Yeah, it feels a bit strange. We didn't have any association. We weren't even on... Hecaton's wife was killed way before we even got involved. Why would they even think we had any involvement in that?
But they could also be upset about Imrith.
It makes more sense that maybe that possibly they had some association with Imrith, or maybe Hecaton's daughters.
But Hecaton, we discussed this with Hecaton about the giant who killed his son, and Hecaton has more or less given us his blessing to deal with him how we'd like. So this isn't something where we should go to Hecaton and ask for his clarification on this, is it?
Your memory is matching mine. Hekaton says that this Blogothcus fellow is exiled from the giant kinds.
So if they're mad at us or not, we should still just go up there and save Bridget, and if people get in our way, well, they'll reap the consequences of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we still need to kill Blogothcus regardless of what he thinks of us.
Yeah, they're bad dudes anyway. And
Well, it sounds like well, didn't Hekaton basically decree this guy was an exile?
Jace.
If these cloud giants are in association with this frost giant, they're clearly not in Hekaton's control and outside his remit. So they're all game by me.
Blogothcus is also a cloud giant. This was clarified previously. They're all cloud giants.
I thought he was a frost giant. Okay, excuse me.
So we should get in the boat, and we should start heading for the desert and the forest, and then just keep going till we run into a cloud that looks like a castle.
Well,
I'm sure we could consult a map, and if we know from lore and legends how fast
Maps
this
are
place
for
moves.
common people, not for us.
Aaron and the Rangers are the kind of guy, you kind of have a good idea of where he might be going.
Yeah.
Having a range of that area. Would that be correct?
You've not really ranged east.
I've ranged down by Loudwater and around that area.
Would I not been down there?
Yeah, we
On
stayed.
my hunting for giants?
We stayed down there for a good couple of months
Mhm.
on our time off before.
Combined with all of you, with your histories, with your knowledges and stories you would have heard, you can be fairly certain that the desert to the right is probably Anarok.
Yeah.
Especially since that's where, like you remember, you were far to the east when you were in Imith's lair. So it might somewhere over there. If Anarok is to the right, then the forest to the left
High forests.
is probably going to
where's
be
it?
the high forest.
So
And so
likely
right in between the huge high forest and Anarok, the desert, is the Great Peak Mountain range. And so you can probably assume somewhere along there is the Cloud Giant City as of right now.
We were told by somebody recently that they were last spotted over the Nether Mountains, right?
What you were able to determine was the message in the paper that was sent was hailed from the Nether Mountains, that particular type of industrial paper and method of messaging. So somehow and somewhere, you know that Blagothcus plus Bridget have been up by the Nether Mountains at some point. They've gone south to Parnast and then are now headed north.
So it looks like, it feels to me that they're maybe they're just ranging up and down there, and they're making stops and plundering and doing what they need to do around that region.
At most, they could have made it, if they were the same speed as our airship, they could have made it to Adbar. But they're not going to be. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be the speed of our airship.
No.
So let's a wise course would be to head directly east, and then turn south at the Nether Mountains and see if we can run into them that way. Unless you want to try and cut across the high forest, but we might cut across and come down below them. If we come down from the north, then we're bound to run into them if they're heading that way.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Do we want to send anyone ahead to any of the citadels?
If we do not think they would have reached the citadels yet, I do not think it necessary to waste our resources.
Okay, load up then, I guess.
As soon as that
You-
ship shows up.
By this point, because you guys have now spent a couple days in Mirabar in order to do all the various actions, the dream sequence, and all of that. By this point, the ship is here. It has docked and moored within the Mirabar docks. The crew is led by I've forgotten his name. Led by your friend
Harback.
Harback. Yeah, I was just looking for the Harback Stouttail. Led by Harback, the crew is now feeling quite confident with the ship. They actually pull in as if they were drifting around the bay into the spot. As he arrives, pulling off the hatch, hey! Adventure awaits. Where are we going?
Captain Harback, you're getting quite proficient at sailing this ship.
Yes.
I doff my thick cap off to Juicer.
Aye.
All right. It is now the time you have been waiting for. We now sail to adventure to plunder a castle.
Great plunder to be had. What
There-
do we expect?
There is even...
The literal castle. We are plundering the whole castle. Not like stuff in the castle, like the castle.
So we're laying siege to something.
We will be
Sure.
laying siege for sure. You will be transporting us and hopefully staying out of trouble. And we will call you when everything is safe so that you can get your hands on some treasure.
Okay. I guess a flying ship would give you an advantage over most castles around here. I didn't know many castles in the area that were open and free, or at least worth taking over. Which poor, sorry folk will you be removing from their castle?
Well, you know how this ship flies and how flying ships are like a weird thing that don't usually exist? Well, there are also castles that fly.
Is he being serious?
Oh yeah.
We told you adventure awaits.
Yeah. And adventure on ground is just so much more boring than when you have the whole sky to fend for, too, you know? There will be stories told about you.
Who have you heard of has ever laid siege to a castle in the sky?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of a lot of crazy things, and I've come to kind of understand how this thing stays aloft with the elementals and everything. But is it a small castle, a big castle?
Always a big castle.
Yes, so we are operating in a bit of a mystery as to exactly where the castle is. That is the bad news. I mean, we have an idea of where it was and where it's traveling. That's the bad news. The good news is it is enormous. It is so giant that surely we will be able to find it once we get close. And this is good news.
That's good news.
Jace.
Okay.
How are the
So-
Griffins doing, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
The Griffins are with Erin's father, correct?
Nope, they're hanging out on the ship.
Oh, they're on the
They're
ship.
supposed to be
Okay.
on the boat.
Whereabouts on the boat are they being kept? Because these are Griffins.
I mean, they would have had to be kept up top, maybe on like
Top,
the
yeah.
front, on the front bow kind of thing.
Okay. All right. They're doing pretty well. They're growing. They're mounts. They're mindless beasts.
I'm gonna go give Negan a pet
And Zena.
and Xena.
You named yours.
Yeah.
Good. Good. All right. So, where are we headed?
Bring on fresh provisions and feed for the Griffins, and then get in the air, and our tier will tell you where to go. No, Aaron will tell you where to go. Actually, I think we can all agree listening to Osrin's a great idea. Maybe she'll tell you where to go.
Sounds good. What do we expect to face?
There are giants in this castle. It's a giant castle. The castle will have giants in it.
There are giants in the
it's
sky.
a castle owned by giant. Oh, okay.
Yes, it's very big. It's very big.
That's why the castle's so big.
It's very big. And
They're
how could we
notorious.
miss it?
They're notorious for throwing boulders. So
Okay. So we come in from a. How high is it going to be flying?
That's an excellent question.
at the level, I would assume, of a cumulus cloud line, which is fairly low, but still above the lowest cloud line.
Okay.
They are
All right.
cloud giants. The idea is presumably that their castle is disguised as some sort of cloud, so they will probably like to be inconspicuous.
And the
Okay.
only clouds big enough for that are the cumulus, which only go to there.
I believe you. I believe you. All right. So he immediately begins ordering his people to begin doing what's necessary. They get fresh provisions. They get food supplies, everything you might need. And as soon as you're ready, they will head off. Okay.
Let's go.
East.
Tearing off into the sky, you leave from Mirabar and head eastward, keeping the spine of the world on your left. You just sail off towards the east. The journey is going to take quite a few days to get all the way over to the Nether Mountains.
Any idea does anyone know about, well, you hate giants. Do you know what if storm giants have a particular weakness besides being bludgeoned in the head by the best sword in the entire sea of swords?
Cloud giants.
Cloud giants, and I'm a hammer. Thank you very
I said
much.
you were a hammer.
Oh.
Can I do a history check?
Yes, you can. Weaknesses. Not that I know of. I mean, they're pretty stupid creatures.
What
Oh, no.
survival? Is it history? Survival, okay.
It would be a. Well, it's because it's your favored enemy.
Is it an intelligence?
Yeah, so it'll be it's either nature or
Well, are there any smart giants?
Well, no,
Oh, it's not a good one.
not really. I mean, not compared to a hammer that can talk. But that
Hackathon.
he comes close. Your nature check, from what you know of the attributes of giants in particular, you've never actually faced or killed a cloud giant yourself. Most of
Okay.
your activity has been stone or hill giants. You have faced off with a frost giant, and then the adventures that you've had with the party since then. You've not fought a cloud giant. You can only assume that it is similar to facing off with any particular kind of giant. They're big, their reach is very far, but they're also very slow
Okay.
and slow to behave. Now, cloud giants, you can assume from their nature, probably have a pretty comfortable lifestyle in the sky.
Okay.
Okay, so whether they might or may not be able to fly, you don't know, but you have heard of, and Erin has dealt with, cloud giants flying on cloud nimbuses,
Right.
like skateboards.
But slowly.
Yes,
So edgy. So cool.
I know. So the journey is about 600 miles as the ship flies.
I'm going to spend time crafting harnesses that hook to the griffin saddles, so if anyone gets dismounted, they can fall off but won't be separated from the beast and plummet to their death.
Okay. And how intricate will these be, and how easy will it be to unhook oneself from their harness?
So rudimentary, you'll have a harness and then just like a rope on the saddle that just has a hook on it. So it looks terrible, it's just functional. So the idea being, if you have your control of yourself, you can just unclip. But if you get knocked off unintentionally, the clip won't undo. So
Okay.
kind of just a carabiner type.
Just a carabiner. Fair enough. Go ahead and roll a Tinker's Tools check, and you will spend the entire time crafting fairly well. Enough for everyone, but that's all the crafting you do.
Can I make a? Can I assist him? But I want to add some personal features to that. Can I have a way for being able to? I never intended to use the magic carpet in this fashion, so I want a way for the magic carpet to be sort of hooked on. So if I release the thingy, I can sort of maybe a strap that goes round the magic carpet, and then it's hooked onto me, so I don't lose the carpet if I come off the saddle.
Leather belt would do that.
Yeah.
If that's all you're thinking of.
I'm just thinking about a leather strap that goes round, because I can't really stitch anything onto the carpet because it would possibly break the enchantment. So,
But you're saying you're not using the carpet; you just have it flung across your back, so it doesn't come off you.
no, I'm thinking I like the idea of having the carpet over the top of the saddle, which is the way I used it. So if I come off, the carpet comes with me. And then I don't have
It's
to
like a
undo
saddle
it,
blanket.
so it's already there. I just need to activate it, grab it, and activate it.
That's fine. You'll be able to work with Gamel to get it kind of not so much hooked in, but folded under the saddle in such a way that you can still make use of the carabiner clip method, and should you slip, you can hold on to the thing. Attaching it to you is going to be a bit difficult, but
yeah, so some sort of clip that will go on my belt that I could.
it's easy to attach the carpet to you if it's rolled up. If it's flat, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I want something that goes like a kind of leather thing that would go round one way of the carpet, and then I could hook something onto that as like a clip on it, so that I could roll it up. It would be.
Yeah, sounds good.
That'll work. Yeah.
Yep. That works.
Additionally, try and make something. Do you want to take
Well,
that?
are we? Well, this is the thing. Are we? Is this our way of getting into the castle? Will it be via the griffins? Because if so, then will I be able to have Jag with me on the griffin, or would that not work?
Up a side saddle on the of Jag or something. We can make it.
Yes, but you're going to have to really spend some time, at least spend these 5 days, 5-6 days that you're going to be traveling, flying, making sure that the griffin is comfortable with the panther.
Okay.
Because that's going to be quite a problem.
Okay.
So
Because
go ahead and roll an animal handling check.
Oh, okay.
Can I assist?
Do I not have an advantage?
You're assisting Gamel.
Oh, damn it.
Do I have an advantage on animal?
No.
No.
Can I assist on the 8 hours that I'm just hanging out? Instead of sleeping, I'm just hanging out with the panther and the griffin and getting them to play nice.
Osrin's able to do it without your help. You're busy. So
She's a strong,
Osrin-
independent woman who don't need no man.
But no, wait, hang on. I might actually do with some help because in terms of harnesses, I don't want Jag to fall off, and I've got flying boots. Actually, I'm okay. It's more I don't want Theon, poor thing. He went through the mill. I can't have Jag die on his first outing with us as he's come back.
Well, I can make a harness, but it won't be a harness that Jag can undo. So you'll have to clip him in and you'll have to unclip him.
Okay, that's fine. As long as he doesn't plummet to his death, that's, you know, I think that's.
I only promised to make a clip. Whether he plummets to his death or not is entirely up to him.
So you craft this harness that goes around his shoulders, legs, with a handle on the back, like I think you've seen some animals, and you hook onto his back that way.
Okay.
For safety and security. Okay. Any other preparatory things as you guys fly towards the Nether Mountains?
I wanted to try to find Danric while we're on board the ship and say, hey, do you have a moment to talk?
Absolutely. Got it. What's
Have
up?
a seat.
Sit down. He's
Um,
so little when he's sitting.
I know this is a lot to ask. It's kind of a heavy burden, but out of us all, I think you might be the best selection. I was wondering if you would be willing to carry one of these,
What's it? A little.
the pearl.
I take it from him.
It's
Kinda
about
look
the
at
size of your palm.
I take it from him. Take a look
See, the
at it.
thing is that I noticed that you're fairly clever in combat. You keep yourself pretty distant, and
Don't want these getting in the wrong.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Understood. Well, I would absolutely keep a hold on this for you. 'Cause I want to make sure your soul can be as intact as possible.
Thank you. I would
Absolutely.
greatly appreciate that. Thank you. You don't need to hold on to it forever. Once we're through and we all go to the places where we will be from, I will take it back.
All right. Well, I'll keep it safe
Thank
until
you.
then.
Thank you. This means so much. So much.
Yeah. Well, you've helped us. You've helped me and helped us a lot. So it's the least I can do.
You've more than covered your debt, but just out of friendship at this point, let's just keep doing good stuff.
All right.
Danric, go ahead and roll me a perception check, please.
Ooh, that's an adequate roll. Thing.
Okay. Feeling this thing, it's a pearl, but you can, when looking at it, you can see inside some grey-white liquid is swirling and constantly flowing within it. It feels warm to the touch and almost feels familiar. It's probably something to do with the soul and the fact that you're familiar with the person who owns it, but you do feel comfortable with it, regardless of whatever uncomfort you had when witnessing its creation.
The soul itself.
The soul itself feels comfortable.
Great.
Okay. Yep.
I wish to inquire of my comrades, when they are available for inquiry, if we think there is merit in trying to get this Blogothkis out of his castle and on the ground. Because I can think of two scenarios where that might happen. One where we contact King Hecaton and ask him to set up a meet between us because there may be some sort of miscommunication. Or two, as Danric has said that these giants stop in towns from time to time for supplies, perhaps we can try to wait at a town in their path and get them before they get into the town. Is there
I
merit in
personally-
trying to find one of these solutions?
I personally would rather not take them on their home turf.
Mm-hmm. And if we can get them stopped somewhere when they're out, we can maybe thin the numbers out a bit before we need to really get in there.
Eventually, we need, either way, we eventually need to go in. We need to get Bridget out.
Yeah.
If we can
The
kill
longer we
Blagothis first, though.
delay, the longer we delay, the more danger may be for Bridget. I understand the tactical advantage of waiting, but we don't know when they'll set down or where. We're still searching for them now. If we find the castle, maybe we'll learn more information, but unless we have some better idea where they'll set down and when, perhaps the best thing to do would be a scouting mission or a going in and poking around a little bit, and if it seems too dangerous, retreating. So not overcommitting ourselves. But then if we get in and things seem to go well, perhaps we could resolve this matter in one go.
Maybe we can do it. But
We could sneak in, some of us.
we could split party this. It's not the greatest thing to do, but we could go in while you guys cause a distraction, maybe drag out more of them, or we go in and get Bridget out. My worry is if we start anything,
We separate up.
if we start anything down and we take them off of their home turf, then Bridget might be in danger. There might be recompense, and it might be swift.
That's true.
But if we're split, you don't need to kill them. You just need to cause enough ruckus to get the rest of them down there, or we get Bridget out.
So it sounds like there's still merit in trying to get them out of the castle, but with an additional task of having an infiltration group retrieve Bridget before we assault the castle proper. Am I hearing you correctly?
Maybe we can give the captain and his crew some danger pay.
You're looking for adventure.
Cause a big distraction.
Well, to make greater plans, we probably have to see exactly where the castle is. So I guess we will play it by ear when we do find the castle to see what plans we may make.
That's true, because once we get nearer, then we can work out. I can find out how many there are in the castle, where they are in the castle, and I speak giant. So if I overhear anything as well, then it might be that we can actually pinpoint exactly where Bridget is in the castle and make a plan from there.
And when it comes down to it, it is Bridget who's really in danger here. So whatever plan we make, I'd leave to Danric the final decision on what we do, because that's your choice to make, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the distraction and the running in sounds like the best bet, because if we can get in and out swiftly, then although that never really seems to work too well, it can still work out well enough. And I think that's probably our best bet. Whether or not we want it.
Who's the swiftest?
Yeah.
So if we were going to make an infiltration team, who's going to be the infiltration team?
I'll go infiltrate. I'll go and infiltrate, because if she doesn't know who any of you guys are except for me, and so she'll need to see me. Plus, I'm small and sneaky, so that'll work to our advantage.
Okay.
Loic, did you have any cunning tricks that can conceal our ship if we were to suddenly find ourselves closer than we wish it to be to the castle?
Too big.
Good to
Way
know.
too big.
Good to know.
All I can do is fog cloud, which may or may not work.
Yeah.
How
But
big is
would
our
keep
ship?
you moving.
In terms of size, it's probably about, if I remember rightly, it's about 50 foot long, 20 foot wide. What are you planning to do, folks?
We just keep going until we find the castle, until we hear somebody yell land ho or castle ho, I think.
Jace, we
Well,
wish to find the castle, and then once we know where the castle is, with relation to other landmarks, we may be able to determine that they might be stopping and then make a plan for that. If there are no landmarks, then we have to maybe ask Hekaton to contact Blagothkus to force them to land, etc., etc. But we have to find the castle first.
If Oswin's ability is anything like mine, I think it is.
Yep.
We've got a good 5-6 miles
We've got a 5-mile warning.
before we reach them. We can stay out, right?
Okay. All right. So on the 5th day of travel, your ship makes it to the edge of the Nether Mountains. You're skirting the line between the high forest and Anarok. When you get to the Nether Mountains themselves, the mountainscape is clear below. You remember your previous adventures through New Fort and Citadel Fellbar further to the north as you pass them. You briefly see smoke still rising from Ironslag, as that's not too long ago. The ship turns, pitches to head south, begins to fly southwards. The Nether Mountains themselves, and between the Nether Mountains and Parnast, the only village that you know of is Deadstone Cleft, which is near Loudwater. It's in the Grey Peak Mountains themselves. Other than that, you would have to go north of the Nether Mountains to see something. You, from your position, don't see any castle north of you, but your primal senses only last about 5 miles, so they don't really indicate too much. You can't be sure. Do you head north towards Citadel Adbar, or do you head south away from it?
Desert was on the right, wasn't it?
If
Desert.
we
Yep.
have been just every night on the ship, then why don't I keep casting the dream spell to make sure that Danric gets to keep in communication with Bridget? That way she can tell us.
It's going to be a
That's fair.
good week for Dan.
Yeah. All right. No, that's a good idea, though. That's. You can keep
Okay.
tabs.
All right, fair enough. Then she continues to give updates as best as she can, but you learn. So her position, she has been kept in a cage inside the base of the mountain. She explains a little bit more about the actual castle itself. It's a castle built around a huge piece of rock. There are 2 levels to this castle, a lower main courtyard and then an upper courtyard with some towers poking up from above it. Below the lower main courtyard, there are some caverns within the rock. She is being kept with other prisoners there, and she can even see an opening not far from where her cage is that is just completely open to the area below. It's kind of as a threat and a danger. There is a way out for her, but it'll be a couple 100-foot drop kind of situation for her. She gives you regular updates. She has not yet passed over the Nether Mountains. The forest is still to her left, and they're headed north. But the forest has been getting closer and closer. Every day that they move, they're moving at a slow pace, but the forest is getting closer to the desert. They're both collecting towards one another.
Mhm.
Which, I don't know if you guys have a copy of the map of the north up available to you.
Oh,
This is helpful.
yes.
But a clever ranger would be able to indicate.
We go on right.
That's why I can't do it.
Oh.
There we go.
Ah.
So
That's
you can assume that when she's describing the way that the forest and the desert are almost meeting
Yeah.
towards one another, that the ship is somewhere, at least that night before, heading north above the far forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sky is filled with clouds, and it almost looks, as you look south from the Nether Mountains out of the ship, almost looks like a huge storm cloud is on its way north towards you. Evidently, the castle is probably keeping itself well hidden amongst the clouds.
You guys fancy doing? Should we try staying a night in Newport?
Well, first, I would ask Captain Hardback to ensure that we are in as much cloud cover as possible, so as not to give away our position.
And that we're also very high, perhaps pushing our maximum altitude. So that if we, I prefer to be above them than below them.
Although if they know that we're getting a one-up on them, and all it takes to get rid of Bridget is a swift kick of a cage, and then she plummets down a few hundred feet into the mountains. I don't know. I mean, above would be good for an approach, but we'd have to get down as quickly as we can.
If she can just exit, that means we can just enter.
That's true.
Yeah.
We could just hop on Griffins, dive bomb right into where she is, and then just grab her and leave if that's the worry.
But isn't it invisible from below, though?
It's very difficult to see underneath.
Yeah.
But if we come in from above,
We can go and have a look.
We're quite perceptive.
You're quite perceptive.
Okay, so all right, we are stealthy. We are trying to be stealthy.
Harback will take you up very high. He will admit he's not tried out what the maximum height of this thing is, and he doesn't feel comfortable really pushing it, but he will at least try to rise above the storm that is apparently on its way.
I think
How far
Newport
is it?
might be too far from where we are to try to wait for them. So I do not know that that is an optimal.
It feels like they must have a destination, and if they're going to go over the nether, if they were going to go anywhere west of us, they would have just cut across the high forest.
Maybe
Newport's
they are.
either the destination, or they're going to bypass it, and we'll be able to see, observe where they're going.
I think that's too far.
It might still be a few days before they get to Newport.
Yeah.
We can make some preparations. We could ask around town if they've got another day. We can see if they've been here before. If they have been here before, then there's the chance they'll be coming back.
If
Bridget's in a place where she can just be caught, we're trying to be sneaky. But if we were just loud and fast, that might be the most secure way to get her out.
if we're concerned about Bridget, then I do not think waiting more days is good if we can get to them now.
What does Danrick want to do?
Storm the castle. Get down as fast as we can. Get her
Does she
before
appear
she
to be in immediate danger?
Is she in any harm?
I don't know if her tunes changed in the past few nights, but they haven't done anything to her besides keep her in a cage.
Okay.
So, I mean, if she's bait, which it sounds like she is, they probably want to keep the bait as bait for as long as possible.
Should we, before storming the castle, reach out to King Hecaton to see if he can arrange a parley?
We've relied on him a lot, and it seems like whenever we show up, we cause trouble. I'd rather not continue to, especially where he's already said that these guys are banished and not a part of his domain, and that we're free to do what we wish with them. I don't think we ought to involve him. If for nothing else, then it could negatively affect him. If people find out that he was involved in this could potentially affect him back home.
Gamble, your memory
exiled or not, they're still giants.
Your memory must be foggy, because every time we show up, we fix problems for King Hecaton. That's what we do.
That may well be, but if every time we show up, I'm sure every time he sees us now, he thinks, "Oh, what's the problem now?"
So, where are you headed, guys?
We're holding put.
Okay, so staying where you are, you look around, keeping high above the clouds. The cloud that's moving north will begin to get closer and closer. It gets, yeah.
While that's happening, we're discussing what we're going to do.
Yes.
We're not. So while Hekaton, is Hekaton a no-go or a yes-go?
I say no go. We don't need to also even more clearly forecast that we're coming.
Okay.
That can cause more problems.
Very well. Then that means we are going to assault the castle right now. Is this correct?
I think so.
Well, yeah. How are we close enough for a check to be done?
Not almost.
Can Aaron get out?
Aaron's got his telescope.
If you guys, what was it? Yeah, you can pull it out to see what you can see.
Oh, the one the spyglass that he got from the owl. That was a wedding present.
Ah.
So go ahead and roll a perception check. But if you remember, you don't have advantage because you're not out over open waters.
Yeah. Okay.
That was him.
19. Okay. You can see the cloud coming. It's very difficult to be able to see anything within it to get a glimpse, but you do think you can see at one point there almost appears to be a bit of a spire poking out of the top of the cloud itself.
How far do I range that?
If you guys sit there and wait, it's about 10 miles away from you.
Okay.
If you guys move off to do something else and go elsewhere, then it's pretty close, but it's coming up behind you.
If I get a sense of movement, can I see direction? Have they changed direction? Are they heading directly north? Are they...
The cloud is almost perfectly following the line of the desert and appears to start pitching to the right away from Newfort.
Towards Ascor.
Towards Ascor, the ancient, ruined dwarven city.
Inverse layer. Oh, that's where it was.
Can helmsman stout ale get us behind a cloud, and then we'll just sit in or behind the cloud until it comes under us, the castle?
He's keeping you above the cloud limit to try and keep as out of sight as possible.
So, when the castle is close enough, we will rely on Azran to tell us how many giants there are and where they are located, etc. Once we have this information in hand, is it our intention to have two teams, one going beneath the castle to try to liberate Brigid, and the other trying to get entrance into the castle by whatever means is most distracting? Is this what we are proposing?
I think so. But were we talking about having the ship kind of be the front distraction so they could come out? Although we don't want to risk the ship that much.
I think we're best to leave the ship up high, hop in our griffins, and go down.
Okay.
So, is that breaking us into two teams, or all eggs in one basket?
I say, well, what is it? Because I think splitting.
If we sneak and get caught, we're in trouble. If we go in, we're going to make noise. I think we should all just dive in there, head for Bridget's opening, that cage, get in and grab her, and hold our ground for a bit, and then if not, fly away.
So we attack from below, or we attack from above?
Above.
Have the ship attack from above as we go in below. We can have the crew attack. Just cause a distraction. Stay out of major distance. Don't get too involved, but just give them concern.
Let them think
be a distraction.
If you do that, the cloud giants are going to come out on their clouds and then destroy the ship without us on it.
Were the Nimbus clouds faster than the ship?
They
No,
were as fast as they could
But
keep
they
up
were,
with it.
yeah.
As soon as they see that, tell them to disengage.
Do we wish to have the ship below the castle below where we believe Bridget is being held in case she is booted off?
Hopefully we'll be there for
The
that.
ship's in danger then, though, of boulders.
But
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure
if-
the crew is willing to risk their lives to save the damsel in distress.
It's true.
Of
They
course.
do want the big adventure.
As long as you help them get the plunder.
Jays.
Oh, we will.
Mhm.
They will be
Sounds
rewarded
exciting.
greatly for it.
Okay.
Then London.
Within a couple hours, the ship moves closer and closer. You're now within the 6-mile radius or the 5-mile radius that you need for your primeval awareness, focusing in on
Okay.
giant kind.
Can I also do humanoids? Because they're my second favoured,
Okay.
which means I might be able to locate where she is.
Yep. Okay. So there are. By this point, you can actually get an actual image, a view of the castle itself. And let's see. Can you guys see that image?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
roughly.
Okay.
There
So
you
as
go.
I said, you've got the main courtyard, then the upper courtyard, and then it's all centered around this huge rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you focus your senses. You pick up the life signs. First of all, you push out for giants. You sense that there are 30 creatures of giant kind. You can't specifically know which type of giant they are, but you know that could range from anything from ogres, hill giants, stone giants, all the way up to cloud, storm, and whatever. So there are 30 giants, of which 10 are on the middle level,
Okay.
4 are on the bottom, and 16 are up top.
Okay.
Okay. There are 14 humanoids in the middle. There are 16 humanoids at the top and 5 humanoids in the bottom, inside the cave system.
Okay. And we know she's in a cave.
Can Aaron, just in case I've got any pets, can Aaron reach out and see if there's any monstrosities or fiends in there while he's out?
Monstrosities or fiends? There are no monstrosities or fiends.
Okay, just checking.
Okay. Anything else you guys would like to do as you lie in wait?
Do we see a way in from the bottom?
You'd have to get down to the bottom to be able to look. Right now, your ship is above, waiting. You see that the open courtyard, very easy to drop into on both levels. The top level has a series of towers, which you could go for. Focusing, there's a large one at the back, which looks like a fortress kind of tower with the turreted. What's the
Battlements.
There's
Yeah.
a word. There's a word for those.
There's a word for it, but
They're not correlations.
I should know that all the time.
Crenellations?
And I'm model this.
Crenellations.
So I should know
Yeah.
what
could be. But you've got the fortification style, the medieval castle style, what you would imagine, tower in the back. Then you've got some thin peaks throughout the top. That's as best as you can see. Again,
I'm just going to suggest that Aaron's happy to take the magic carpet and just fly down and observe from below. for a bit, sneaked out, just fly down,
We'll see if there's any holes.
and then observe and come back. I don't need to, not actually underneath the thing. I'm just going to go down below the ship and get a different vantage point so I can see below it.
Okay. You're going to need to roll a stealth check
Yeah.
to try and fly stealthily.
I'm going to do a pass without trace for this.
Okay. Will anyone be joining him on this reconnaissance?
Do you want me to?
I'll go.
So Danrik will go with him. Okay.
I'm just going to jump on my
So
car.
stealth checks with the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
27 then. Damn it.
Well,
Okay.
what gives you advantage?
My cloak.
Uh,
Cloak of the bat.
Fair enough. Okay. So, with a fairly solid stealth check, you slowly make your way down. The cloud castle itself, though it's made and built with concrete out of rock, it almost seems like cloud is clinging to it. So you have to go through the clouds themselves, using that cover to help you. You are able to drop down to the bottom layer and be able to view it from underneath. At this point, you can see that there are two tunnels on it. One closer towards the middle of the front, which is just a straight drop opening. And then one at the back that's about on the side that you could fly into. But the one on the back is very large. Like, you're looking 50 foot wide or diameter circle.
I can obviously see both the desert and the thingy from both ends. So which one could, Aaron determine which one of those openings would be the best vantage point to see both of those things?
So one of them goes straight up into the rock, the other goes in from the side, and so matching Danrik's description, it's probably the one nearest the center that goes straight up.
How big is that?
It's not too big. It's only about a 10, 20 foot wide tunnel.
How wide are our griffins?
Full wingspan, maybe
Yeah.
10, 15 foot,
Oh, I took the carpet.
but you're on the carpet.
Oh,
We're
we're
on
both
the
on the carpet.
We're
Oh,
both,
okay.
we can both fit on the carpet. You being a wee man, we can both fit on the carpet.
Great. Well, I'm gonna look to Aaron and say, do you want to go up there and see what we can see, or should we go back?
You want to do this?
I want to do it. I'm down. Big damn heroes. Let's go.
We're going to do it.
Really?
Okay.
This is cool. This is good. I can't tell you.
Hey, Gamble, did you think
Yes.
they are going to try and just handle this by themselves? What do you think is going to happen next?
As you're seeing this, Gamel's getting his wits end loaded up on a griffin and stuff. He's ready to go. It's I assume that we're gonna hear some screaming and then we'll have to swoop in and save the day. That's just what I think.
Dude, your powers of the mind, how far do they travel? Can you stay in contact with them?
I can if I can see them and they're a javelin's throw away, I can probably stay in contact. Beyond that, I don't quite have the mental acumen to be in contact further than that.
Well, let us hope they choose responsibly.
Indeed. But all the same, I think we should have these griffins ready to go right now.
I'm going to keep an eye on if there's any movement all of a sudden from giants inside the castle. And if there is, I'm going to be ready.
I'm actually getting on my griffin. Armor, gun, just waiting right there.
Jack's got his harness on, and I'm kind of ready that if I have to... Can I carry Jack if I had to, or is he too big?
You could carry him, but that's about all you could do with him.
That's fine. Just in case I decide to skip the griffin altogether.
Okay. All right. So, Aaron and Danrik, you should be able to see yourselves, correct? At the opening to the tunnel.
Aaron's passive isn't probably enough, but he'll be actively looking out for patrols and stuff as they try and sneak in to make sure that, you know, if they don't want to alert anybody, if there's anybody about, if we get in and get out, let's do it.
Okay. So looking and making a point to try and keep an eye on everything, you begin to float into the tunnel. The tunnels are tight. You guys can fit through it. It's not too big of a deal for you to do so, but it does begin to split off from side to side. But you will make it straight up. I need you both to roll perception checks.
Oh, God.
As you float slowly up, heads popping up out of the hole, you see there are 4 cloud giants on patrol down in this lower section. You can see just off to the side is Bridget and her cage. She's over here.
Oh,
She's close. She's that close.
she's there.
She's right there.
I'm just gonna edge the carpet back a little bit.
Okay. Sorry.
We're still stealth.
I could make a noise really far away with thaumaturgy, and maybe that'll draw them over there. I don't know if they're dumb enough for that, though.
You can dimension talk, can't you?
Oh shit. Well, that only gets I can dimension door twice. Yeah.
You've just seen where she is.
Yeah.
I'll go back and you can do it.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna cast dimension door. How big is her cage? Is her cage big enough where I could dimension door into her cage and then right back out?
Yeah, you're small enough that you could fit into her cage with her, but the other humanoids that are also in other cages in this room, you'd have to leave behind.
I'm not there for them. It's fine.
No, but they're prisoners too.
No.
Bridget wouldn't want me to just abandon them.
Well, no, we're coming back for them. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna do it. Just kind of like hyping himself up.
What? Let me come back out. This is all whispered, by the way. I'm just.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Right. Back out. I'll back out. We'll go back out, and then I'll stay where I am, and then you can dimension door in and dimension door back to the carpet.
All right.
Can all 3 of you come?
Yeah, should be all right. They're small. They're really small.
We're little halflings. We're little things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Enric is gonna do it. So I'm gonna cast my first dimension door to get over to her in her cage.
Okay. So, you teleport yourself from your current location to any other spot within range. You arrive at exactly the spot desired. It can be a place you can see, one you can visualize, or one you can describe by stating distance and direction. All right, so you immediately disappear in a puff of smoke, and reappear inside a cage, very visibly popping in, drawing the attention of everything. I'm going to need you to roll initiative.
Yes.
Surely it's a surprise round.
Not giants on patrol.
Oh, I got a good initiative though.
Well, that's a good initiative. Yeah, come on.
Come on,
Come on.
Last one. Yes.
Yes!
Okay.
Okay. As quick as they might, they are unable to react quick enough for you to be able to stop you. In
Right.
your quick motion, you grab hold of Bridget. She doesn't even really have enough time to be able to react and recognize you. But for that moment, you hold on to her. I am going to need you to roll an athletics check.
All right. Actually, I think trained in that. Or proficient. Oh, well, not good, but. Oh, criminy.
Okay. She tries to fight you off a little bit, just natural instincts.
Oh, no, Bridget. Hey, Bridget, baby. No. We're going to fall. This is not good.
She succumbs after a moment of realization. You are able to bamf out.
Oh.
But bamfing with her onto the carpet, using Dimension Door.
Aaron's prepared for two halflings to appear.
Okay. All right.
That's right.
So you get ready to grab onto them to make sure that they don't fall, because they're going to appear at a point. You guys are all moving, like point to point. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to need Aaron to roll a... Well, what kind of skill would you be using to prepare to get ready to grab them as soon as they pop?
I'm going to prepare an athletic. I want to say athletics. I want to be prepared to take the weight and grab them in a, because I'm trusting Dominic to get onto the point. It is taking the weight and making sure that they're bound and secure. They don't go all bouncy.
Okay, go ahead and roll an athletics check.
Oh, and as Bridget notices who I am, I just look at her and I kind of wink and I say, "Come with me if you want to live."
Danric and Bridget appear instantly. Aaron quickly grabs hold of both of them and the carpet and begin to slow the carpet down just to stay away from them. You know for a fact you have drawn the attention of the cloud giants. The question I would have for you, because you know Bridget a little bit better than I will admit than I do, how do you think she would feel knowing the fate she has left for the other humanoids captured?
I don't know that she would like that I guess it looks like there's two others are in imminent danger of utter destruction. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she would like that they're just kind of left hanging necessarily.
Okay. So in which case she would thank you for saving her, but we must do what's right, and we must save everyone else.
And we plan to, we're gonna try to work that out.
Okay. Osrin, you immediately, so you're using your primeval awareness.
Yeah.
On giants or humanoids? Is there a limit to how many times you can do this? I don't think there is there?
No, I don't think there is.
No, there isn't. Okay. So
yes.
you kind of have to focus and split your attention 1 minute on giants, and then you switch to 1 minute on humanoids. Okay.
Yeah.
You had originally sensed how many humanoids on the in the base at the bottom?
Yeah,
Did you mark that down?
I did. No, 5.
Humanoids.
Yeah.
Humanoids. Yep. You marked down 5. You can now sense humanoids. One is now outside the castle
Oh no.
With two others.
with two others, which you know. So you know that Aaron's done something he hadn't planned. However, that leaves 4 humanoid persons. Immediately, you sense 3.
Oh,
Like 1 disappears from your senses
yeah,
Disappears.
from that area.
yeah. Right.
As an example is made of one of the prisoners.
Okay. Okay, so
You read it.
I look at Gamel, roll my eyes, nod. They've gone in. They've got her out, but now they've started to take it out on the other prisoners. There was 4 left. 1's just been killed.
I'm gonna give everybody a knowing look. Like, we gonna do this? We gonna do this? And I'll just shout out to Stout Ale. Standing orders. Everybody lash themselves to the boat till further notice, and then I take off with the Griffin, and we head off. I want it to be like flight of the Valkyrie, like this squadron of Griffins, like all fly out together. Great.
So, where are the rest of you headed? Are you trying to come underneath with Aaron?
By this point, as soon as they're on board, Aaron's booking it
Heading back.
Yeah, we're exposed now. We're heading back full steam.
At this point, the cloud castle shudders to a stop.
Okay.
The place is on high alert.
Do we all want
What
to
are
be
you guys
heading
doing?
down to save them, or is this where we need to cause the distraction at the top part of the castle?
Actually, Aaron might be going low. Aaron might be going down for cover.
As you were going down, would you see somebody falling and try to like swoop in and catch them?
Who's falling? Is everyone falling?
No one's falling, but
There was,
Gamel.
there was
there's-
there was one person that they kicked
No, they
out,
just
right?
smashed him.
No, they're just,
Oh, okay.
No,
No, they just, yeah.
just killed him.
Okay.
Did we hear this happen from outside?
No,
You
I
heard
think
a lot of
we need
ruckus,
to-
a lot of
we need
shouting.
to get to safety, and we can't. We're exposed in the air, so I'm going to look for tree cover, rock cover, blah blah blah, and go, try and hide once we get down low.
Heavy crossbow bolt comes flying out of the clouds just in a random direction. Not at the ship. They don't know where the ship is, but you can see quite clearly this huge bolt just explode out of the tower. Where's everyone going?
I'm going to talk to the captain. I say, Captain, there are many humanoids on board this castle. We expect to take the castle, but there is a chance that we will not be able to take the castle, and we will need the ship to be able to rescue these prisoners. Therefore, it is important that the ship not be destroyed. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very well. Then we will be setting off from the ship and sieging the castle. You follow the ship if it moves again. But otherwise,
Of course.
stay concealed so that we can use the ship for the other humanoid captives.
Okay. Will do.
And I hop on Zeppa and I follow the direction Gamma went.
And I'll
Okay.
follow Artir.
All right. And Osrim will follow Loic.
Yep.
So Gamel leading the troop, coming up underneath to where you know Aaron went to, or are you going to land elsewhere?
I think I'd prefer to do a once over, and if I can see anybody, I'm just gonna stay up and shoot at range, so I don't have to get down below. Or if anyone's outside, I just want to start shooting people,
Okay.
because that's how Gamel deals with his problems.
Flying over the top courtyard, getting a glimpse of that, you can see there are 5 giants out in the open, just stood in the courtyard. 4 seemingly average-looking cloud giants and 1 rather angry cloud giant with long, flowing white hair, holding a huge golden orb in his hand, raising it up in its position. On that top courtyard, there are some heavy crossbows, some big, huge ballistae. And so they will be firing at you at the same time as you firing at them. Are you actually going to focus on that point, or are you going to move elsewhere?
Well, I'm going to switch my focus to bestial form, so I get advantage on animal handling checks. And I'm also going to spend 2 side points to bump up my AC by 2. And then, yeah, I'm going to shoot the guy with the golden orb, because if I can't have big, flowing, beautiful hair anymore, nobody can.
As soon as I see Gamel setting to take a shot, I say, "Oh no!" and then I veer away from following Gamel because I do not want to be sitting duck, and I wish.
Well,
to...
at the very least, I think I can make a ruckus, a distraction. So I'm going to use my scope for advantage, and I'll just do a sharpshooter shot with wit's end.
Okay.
And I see nothing on my screen.
You see nothing on your screen?
Yeah, fine.
No, that's probably because I don't have any of you there.
His death.
You have died.
That's what the end screen looks like.
Yep.
Right. 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. Huh. That seems weird. How about now? Can you see things?
Nope.
Nope.
I see you centering, but it's just all black.
Yep.
Aaron's in the middle of what knows? God knows what. That's what I've got.
They all have look around.
I think I know what that is. That's because I have it set on enforced line of sight.
Aha!
There we go. So imagine the two of you aren't actually there. Can everyone else see the map?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So Gamel is taking shots at the big guy in the center. 25 is going to hit him. However, he casts shield on himself, and it misses.
Well, my trusty little mechanism goes ka-chunk and auto reloads, and I'll shoot him again.
Okay.
I've already used my bonus action for my sight, so I'll have to use a grip point to get advantage on this shot. And this time I'll just do a normal, no Thundermonger.
23 is going to miss. At the same time, after you're done, a heavy ballista bolt will launch towards you. Does a 17 hit you?
Nope, my AC is boosted to 22 right now.
Okay. A 28, does that hit you?
Yeah, it hits me.
Okay. As the second one hits in, you take 13 points of piercing damage as a huge bolt hits along your side. I need you to roll an animal handling check.
I get advantage on these.
Yes, you do. Okay, so you managed to keep control of your ship, of your griffin. What is everyone else doing while Gamel is engaged in combat?
Telepathically, I look to Artir and say, "Everybody's gone insane."
Artir is going to try and land right in front of the big giant and just like slide in and just make a big show and say, "Blagothkus, we have received your summons."
You foul creatures. You deserve to die. Thousands of deaths. You ruined everything. Ruined my plans. I'm going to enjoy this.
There seems to be some sort of misunderstanding, great king.
At which point, if everyone else that followed Artir is going to be on that level and engaging, I'm going to pull everyone else in, and I'm going to need all of you. No, not Danrik. We have Osrin.
So,
I was going to quickly ask the
Yep.
tower with the giant crossbow on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any giants on that, or just the crossbow?
The crossbow is actually being wielded by an ogre.
I'm just
Yes.
wondering if I could land and then turn that crossbow to face a giant.
If you can kill the ogre, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
My griffin,
All right.
my griffin can do that.
Is anyone missing? No, I think everyone's there. Okay, so Loic, what are you doing? Because
I'm up in the air spectating.
You're staying out of this.
For now, I'm going to be ready to step in, and if they need a wall of force, I'll provide it. But
Right, you're immortal now. Go crazy.
y'all are putting yourselves into situations that even I can't pull you out of. I don't know what the heck went on today. Maybe because I just stayed quiet throughout it. Maybe I shouldn't have stayed quiet.
The power of love.
Oh no, I'm feeling Danrik.
Ultimately, though, I do not want to draw attention to myself.
I can understand that. He has a +1.
Artir's
Okay,
initiative
turn.
is 13.
13.
I am thinking about running around and taking out all the turrets that I can see. So you may
That
as
could
well.
work if you and Osrin are going to focus on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when Artir landed, very suavely and slid in there, he gave Zeppa a little pat and told Zeppa to, fly back to the ship.
Back off. Yep. She knows what your behavior from this point and understands you don't want to get her into danger. Okay. All right. So Osrin, I will need you to roll initiative as well as Loic. You guys won't be involved in battle, and we'll kind of narrate what you guys are doing. Taking control of those things aren't going to be difficult because they're being wielded by ogres. That's not going to be a concern. We're just going to track when certain activities happen. All right. So, top of the round, as everything's kicking off, Artir comes down and demands that we stop and have a conversation because maybe there's a misunderstanding here. Loic, you fly in. You're trying to help Osrin take out those things. Okay. There is one ballista up at the top, and then two that are positioned down on the lower level that are still capable of firing up towards the top. So you target the nearest one, the first one first. What would you be doing as you approach it? We're going to kind of play fast and loose with the flying and the distance and things like that. What is your first attempt?
It was just an ogre. If we're going to take over the castle, I'm going to try initially to keep the ballistas intact. So I'm going to go after the ogre itself. We will do... Hey, let's do a Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It's been a minute since we did that.
Okay. So the ogre needs to immediately roll a wisdom saving throw, correct?
I believe so.
Tasha's.
Oh, that's right. The compendium here didn't have it whenever I was re-uploading.
It's okay. He rolled a 12. What's your spell slot DC?
18.
18. All right.
Mhm.
So an ogre holding on to a ballista, beginning to turn it to aim towards you, looks, sees you waving your tentacle arm, and immediately drops it, falls to the ground, rolling back and forth. That ogre is now prone and laughing off the top of his head. Okay. Meanwhile, Gamel, firing more shots.
Well, I actually I can't quite tell on this map. Are there any open towers, or are they all roofed? Is there a place I can set down?
The courtyard only.
We are going to stay up then.
Okay.
And I will delay my turn until after our tier. Can I say I'll delay until after our tier, but if anybody attacks our tier or myself, I can shoot off before they do?
You can do one of two things. You can either pull back your initiative to permanently be after our tier,
Right.
or you can ready an action to trigger under a condition. Which of those two would you do?
Already in action. If a giant or a tier attack anybody, I'm gonna shoot the white flowy-haired fella.
Okay. All right. So, Cloud Giant, that is south west of Blagothcus, will approach Artir. Drop your weapons. Do you comply?
You first.
It's a fair response.
It is a fair response. He won't like it, so instead he's going to crit.
I use luck.
And-
I use luck to make him reroll.
Good thing, because I wasted 2 crits on that. All right. So, let's see how we do it again. Nope, that's a 20 to hit. So that's going to miss.
Correct.
All right, he will swing a second attack. And I wish he had advantage because that was another crit, but it wasn't. A 19 to hit is going to miss you.
Does this trigger Matt's ready to action too?
This does trigger Matthew.
So I get to
Triggers
shoot.
Gamel, actually.
Right.
Well,
Sorry.
quite clear. Reload, shoot again, use a grip point for advantage.
It's been a while since you've used this weapon.
I'm
whilst
flying on an
flying.
eagle, on a griffin. It's a whole thing.
Okay. Then. Okay. When you ready an action.
Well, my action was to take my attack.
you ready the attack action. Yeah. Okay. All right. So second attack as the 22 comes in, it will miss.
Man.
This guy is heavily armored. At which point, Blagothcus steps. Well, he stays where he is, holding the golden orb in his hand. Looks up at Gamel, looks down at Artir. How can it be little folk like you defeated Nimrith? She promised me power, and you've taken it away from me.
So you, a mighty giant king, allied yourself with a filthy blue dragon?
I was betrayed by my god.
Is that why you also killed your son? And I make sure I'm really making sure that everyone else, all the other giants, can also hear, with the intent of persuading them that he's a madman of some sort.
At the mention of his son, he screams in anger. You weren't there. You don't understand. At which point he will cast magic missile at 3rd level at you. Because he's a spellcasting giant.
I will cast shield.
Ah, damn it. Alright. So it does nothing to you. We can't counter it. Alright. Artir, what would you like to do?
I will mark off that I just cast that. There it is. Okay. Did I get any sense that the giants around heard what I said, understood, and are processing it, or anything like that?
Roll an insight check. Just added her. But thank you. Uh, 15. Okay. They are kind of. You can tell that they've heard you. They're listening. But right now, Blagothkus seems to be in a position of power, so they still seem to be afraid of him more than anything else.
Okay. Well then, so still with the shield spell on me, I will not disengage, and I will just. I will walk right up to Blagothkus.
All right. It will trigger an attack of opportunity from Cloud Giant, who rolls a nat 1.
He falls off the castle and dies.
I will drop my physical shield, and then I will attack Blagothkus twice. As I'm walking up, I am really playing up the whole giant kind versus dragon kind, and what is it? Fret. What is it called when a father kills his son?
Patricide.
Fratricide? Patricide.
Or no.
Fratricide?
Bat your brother, patricide your father.
Yeah. What's your son? Phyllis.
Sonicide.
Kinslaying.
Yep.
I'm playing that up. I was like,
Okay.
what foul
Filicide.
creature? Filicide.
Phylliside.
What foul crime is it for a father to kill his own son, for a giant to betray his kind and ally with the filthy dragons? And then bonus action, rage, and attack twice.
Roll an intimidation check for me before you do so.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead and attack.
And that is... Boop, boop.
Both 2 solid hits. He attempts to shield himself from it, but it will. You're still able to pierce through his shield with some solid damage. All right.
And I will drop 2 smites on him as well.
Okay.
2 rages, 2 smites. Is he mysteriously a fiend or undead?
No,
Okay.
he is not.
That
So 16 radiant damage.
could explain some things, but no.
Speaking of which, I should clarify that I've selected acid bullets today. I don't think it makes a difference, but just.
Oh, all right. Thank you. All right. Anything else from you, Artia?
That's it.
Okay. Well, after that one, well, those 2 attacks, he is bloodied and wounded. He also, you can see clearly, there is not just blood dripping from the cuts that you've dealt, but there are also tears dripping from his eyes. Osrin, Loic has taken out one of the towers. What are you doing?
I am going to. I'm going to Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
Ignore that.
So who are your hunters marking?
The main guy, the one that in front of our 2.
Okay, so you are. So you're focusing on Blagothkus.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. what I wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
You square him into your sights. You have to get quite close to be able to do so, but you're still flying, so
Yeah.
you're good.
And then that one.
Are you flying? Is she flying on the Griffin, or was she flying independently with Jag? Was that a thing?
No, I think I jumped on the. I talked about flying off independently if I was going to come underneath.
Some in the Griffin.
You. But I'm on a Griffin.
All right.
Otherwise, I can't shoot. I'm carrying a cat.
That's true. I didn't know where Jag. Jag there, or not Jag there?
So that one.
Up to you.
Okay, I'm going to do a longbow sharp.
You can do one of those.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a charge.
Yep.
And then that one. Do that. And then I've also got.
So the 22 will miss.
But I've also got. Where can't I find anything? That.
No, it really misses.
Oh. And I can't do favoured enemy either.
No.
Oh.
You can't. That's the damage.
All right, fine.
You haven't hit, so.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we have Cloud Giants coming in. I need them to roll a wisdom check. Okay. All right. For now, they're going to support their leader, the giant leader, and step forward to attack Artir. So, I have a 27 to hit.
Hits.
Take 18 points of piercing damage from the Morning Star. He will then bring it again, a 31 to hit.
Hits.
You take 23 points of piercing damage.
I cut both of those in half for rage.
Cut both of them in half, so the 18 cuts down to the 9 points of piercing, and 23 cuts down to 11 points of piercing. So 20 in total. However, another Cloud Giant, the other one, will, instead of focusing on Artir, will pick up a chunk of rock and throw it at Osrin. Since she got close enough to Blagothcus, that's a 29 to hit. You take 22 points of bludgeoning damage. And I need you to roll a animal handling check, please, Osrin.
Yeah.
To try and keep a hold of the griffin as you are hit with the side of a rock. Okay, you're able to just stay on, but another rock is coming your way with a 15 to hit this time, actually.
That misses.
That misses. The rock goes wide as you dodge out of the way. There will be another Cloud Giant who is focusing on trying to get to Gamel, but how far away is Gamel?
Gamel is in the air, probably. How fast can a griffin move? What's their movement speed?
About 50, I believe.
I mean, I'm definitely 100 feet away.
Okay.
And like vertically.
Okay. Then he will attempt to do it. He will have disadvantage, but he's going to throw a rock at Gamel. We have a 21 to hit.
That will miss.
Okay. Then a second rock will come up with a 24 to hit.
Oh, that hits me.
Okay. You take 29 points of bludgeoning damage. As the rock explodes on your side. All right, as a round of combat has gone through, I need to know what Aaron and Danrik are up to at this point. Where were you, and what are you doing?
Well, we were underneath, and we had Bridget with us. How much of... I mean, I know this is only really like 6 seconds of times with this happening, but is this happening...
Well, I imagine there was a time period between us and them traveling. So I said we headed down. I got the idea that we were exposed, and I didn't want to be exposed. And my idea was go down, get lost, come back up again to the ship.
Yeah.
So however long you imagine that transition.
So by the time you've gone down and then started to come up, you can see your companions up at the top layer of the castle, attacking it.
Okay.
Are you getting involved?
Seems like they went without us. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think
They attacked without you, right?
We didn't attack.
yeah, we were being sneaky, super sneaky. Well, how does Bridget look? I mean, she's been
Tired, broken, not in physicality, but in spirit.
Yeah. So, I don't know, could we have her fly the magic carpet back to the... She doesn't know where the ship is.
No.
We can't really bring her in the middle of this. Like, that's just asking for her to get smashed.
Would I do that?
Yes. So I don't know, is the magic carpet something that you're attuned to, or is that
It's not. We need to have some sort of trade with it.
right? I think we need to get her back to somewhere safe, and then we can jump into the fray. And if only one of us needs to do that, then only one of us needs to be the one to bring her out and come back. But that, I don't know how long that'll take.
Well, Aaron can. Well, what time of day is this?
Of course, it's broad daylight.
Then I can't fly. I'm attached to this carpet.
Let's see.
So while you guys are still thinking about what you're doing, whether or not you're going straight up or you're going to take her with you, we will jump back to Loic. One tower down. There are still 3. In fact, actually, sorry, before Loic goes, there will be 2 more that will fire at Gamel. The 2 towers.
Bring it! Woo! I live for this.
16 to hit and then a 26 to hit.
26 hits.
So 21 points of piercing damage from that attack. Loic.
All right. I will fly towards the lower tier. Let me see. Hang on. I gotta check the wording on this. You can help me.
What are you looking for?
This is what I want to try to use.
Animate objects. What are you animating?
The ballista bolts. As many as I can.
Okay. So these things, I would say, in terms of size, are considered small. Trying to think how many you get. You can get 10 non-magical objects, so you can get 10 bolts.
Okay.
Okay. You're gonna make attacks with the ballista bolts.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
If you like, you can help me with that. It'll probably be quicker. Because I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, so you're gonna make 10 attacks with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so okay, so 10. The 23 will hit. Who are you targeting, by the way?
I'll start with the guys that are actually on the ballista to get them off of it, and then I'll start going after the giants if I can clear.
So the first 23 will hit. Let's roll the damage because it's a small thing. 1d8 plus 2. So that will deal 10 points of damage. Second attack will also hit the same one. Another 4. Third attack will not hit. Sorry, the third will miss. The fourth attack However, that will crit, which will deal, so that's 10, 29 points of damage. Third attack hits, so that's 35. Fourth attack, next attack, the 25. The 8 will miss. Didn't mean to roll that. The 25 will hit for another 9. We're looking at 44 now. 13, 11. Okay, so all the rest are misses. So, but you've dealt 43 points of damage to one of the ogres in front of the ballista. It's still alive. Okay.
Okay.
But you've got all those 10 that you can use next time.
Oh, the ammunition is everywhere.
Gamel.
Now this guy has, it looks like in his picture, some sort of helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to fly within 60 feet and then cast darkness just on his helmet.
Okay. If the item that you are casting darkness on is worn or carried, he can roll a dex save to avoid, I believe.
That may be. It doesn't say in Mystic, and I looked up just the spell darkness. I didn't see anything about that. So I was looking into this for you, and I don't see anything to help you make that decision. Sorry.
If the point you choose is on an object you are holding or one that isn't being worn or carried, the darkness emanates from the object and moves with it. No, I guess for some reason I thought the creature would get some form of save from it, but no, never mind. So you cast darkness on his helmet.
I think his save is to take off his helmet and throw it away. And I'm just doing it with 1 point, so that's 10 feet of darkness. And then I'm going to fly back out of range. So I should be, I was 100 feet away, I swoop into 60, and then I fly back out. So I'm 120 feet away. And then I'm just going to shoot at him again. But since he can't see me, I get advantage on the shot. Unless he can see me. But, yeah.
So this wording, if the point you choose is on an object you are holding, or one that isn't being worn or carried, the darkness emanates from the object and moves with it. This is an object that is being worn. As a result, I would say you can't cast it on the helm. Instead, you can just cast it on the point that he has stood. Okay? But he is in darkness. You fire the shot, the 25 will
Well, I was
hit.
going to say, if that's the case, if I can't get it on him so if he moves, it stays with him, I will just stay where I am. I will just, no, I can't do that because my griffin will be blind. Yep, darkness on his head. We'll see how that goes.
And you're casting darkness as a bonus action? I'm trying to wonder how you're going to do darkness and fire.
I'm taking an action surge.
Okay, action surge. All right, so you fire the shot. 25 will hit, deals 31 points of damage.
And then auto reload and shoot again.
And that'll miss. Okay. Anything else from you, Gamel? All right.
No, that's it.
Well, we have a cloud giant over here that's going to back up on Art here with a Morning Star attack. Now with advantage, that's 29 to hit.
Hits.
Take 25 points of piercing damage. And then a 28 to hit.
Hits.
So 23. So the 25 is halved down to 12 points of piercing. The 23 piercing is halved down to 11 points of piercing damage. Blagothcus is up next with his current position where he is. He is going to cast Misty Step. Move away. Okay. That's his action to cast that. Yeah, that'll be it for him. Artir.
Just as a point of clarification, in the last round where I stepped away without disengaging, the shield spell would not have still been up because it ends at the beginning of my next turn. However, the attack of opportunity still would have missed because my AC was sufficiently high enough. So,
Okay, so what are you doing this time?
So I will continue my approach of diplomacy, aggressive diplomacy. Whose alligator tears are those for? You forsake your god, you forsake your family of giants, and you forsook your son, and now you flee like a coward. And I'm looking at the giants. Just, what is it you see in this filthy excuse for a giant?
Roll another, either intimidation or persuasion. Okay. All right. They seem to have softened to your position and your viewpoint.
Okay, so then in that case, I will attempt to close with Blagothkus again.
Okay.
Looking.
As you move out of their melee range, they do not attack you.
Excellent. All right. So
he appears to be physically frightened. Anam betrayed me. She promised me I could get revenge. Who are you to stand in her way? Anything else?
I am the vengeance of your son! And I slash him twice more.
You hack away at him. All right.
And I will do so recklessly to ensure I have advantage.
Yep. So, do you have any way of adjusting that 22?
Nope.
Okay, so it'll miss. The 27 will hit.
And then I will use a smite on it. So 35.
Okay. With a powerful swing, he drops to one knee and falls down on the ground. Lets go of the golden orb in his hand. I need everyone stood on the surface to roll a dexterity saving throw, which I think is just Artir, if I remember rightly. Yep. I need everyone to roll a dex save. Okay, so an 18.
28, actually, I have advantage.
Oh, 28. Okay. As he drops this orb and it hits the ground, the entire castle shudders and begins to drop. We will find out what happens next week.
No.
Join us next Saturday as the castle in the clouds begins to fall, as this control orb is no longer being used. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We will see you all same time next week. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye.